Okay, all right. I'll call the meeting to order. This is the budget meeting of the Town of Rutland Select Board. It is 5:30 on Tuesday, December 10th. Present are Kurt Hathaway, Joe DiNardo, Mary Ashcroft, and Matt Getty. Sharon Russell is not able to attend due to a medical appointment she is at. Please rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. So do we have any board member announcements? No. Do we have any update from the select board chair? No, just that there are extra copies of budgets over there. If anybody wants to see, excuse me, what we're talking about. Because otherwise it's probably going to be dry as dirt if you're guessing at home and we're looking at charts and you don't have the charts. Anything from public comments, questions from the floor? Probably not. Okay, excuse me, moving right along. All right, first department up, and the one we get to practice on is recreation, and Mike Rowe. He has a, well, I was gonna say a one-page budget, but it's double.
It's on the back.
So, yeah.
So I'll just start. We came when we had with our budget meeting, with our committee meeting. We anticipate bringing in 27,000 for income, which is a jump from before, but some things have brought in a little bit more money than have in the past. And last year we brought in 26, so we safely thought 27 that we would bring in for our income. Okay.
Yeah, just
then,
generally, what's the money maker there?
The money maker is a pool. That's where we get a lot of the money, because that's what passes.
Okay.
Yeah, all that kind of stuff. I mean, we're pretty through our basic sports. We average anywhere from 3,000 to 2,000 to 3,000 per activity that we offer. But it is concessions and swim passes and swim fees and all that.
So the previous year you made 24,004, and the last year you made 26. So
right.
Okay.
So
good.
I think it's right on the right track of going there. That makes sense. So then just going by line item, as we had talked about before, converting mine into my position into a full-time position. That's why the increase was up to 50, and the rationale was that all the local towns, for example, the city has obviously a main rec director who makes in the 100, over 100,000, but then the three other directors are in the 50s. The Killington director is in the 50s. The Pittsford and Brandon directors are in the same amount of money as in the 50s as far as their salary. So it's a good time to move, as we've talked before. So that's why I settled with just that straight 50. So what I basically did was took the money from maintenance, because I'll be doing both, and then which was 20,000, and then basically it's an increase of 12,500 to keep the maintenance person over at Dewey, and some work for the highway guys that do work for me that I can't do when we pay them overtime. So that's why that looks like that.
So that's what the maintenance line is. Your maintenance line in here is not your maintaining things. It's help.
Yeah. So for example,
maintenance for the facilities and property. So
correct.
Should we put that in as a like maintenance labor or something, so it identifies? Because when I'm looking at this and it says maintenance, first thing I'm thinking of, why are we taking money away from maintaining things? That's what comes to my mind.
Correct.
As a fiction.
Maintenance, it's maintenance labor.
Maintenance labor
is what it should be.
Okay.
Because that pays for Chuck over there. That's what, when I was doing all the park work, or when I do the park work, that's where that comes from.
Because I was going to tell you that if that's maintenance for your equipment or stuff like that, we're not shortchanging you $8,000 to hire you.
No, that is maintenance labor.
Okay.
That I don't know why it's labeled as maintenance, but that is maintenance labor.
Thanks for clearing that up.
Yep.
'Cause otherwise it looks good.
Yeah, then going down small incremental increases that we've made. Also, obviously, Social Security will go up a little bit because of my jumping up. The electricity, nothing gets cheaper, as we know that. So we made small incremental changes to some of the items, chemicals, electricity, the phone and water, or the phone, sorry. The bottom one on the page, 052, maintenance stayed the same. And then flipping it over on the back. Everything essentially stayed the same. We went up in gas. But if I'm looking down through, oh, the other line item was 062, which about halfway down on the back page, that went from 3,500 to 8,000 because that's the money. There's $4,500 in the general fund for the senior account. For the senior money, so that I brought that over
And it
to make
comes out of the
sense.
other one.
Yeah.
So that's why that number jumped, because that's the money. That's right. I thought that was the best place to put it, was under social activities. That's what they are, they are social activities. So that was there. And then I think everything else essentially stayed the same, going down through. So yes, it's a budget change only because transferring from my role up to a full-time
So there
position.
was, this afternoon, there were some updates to this budget that are not on your sheets. There is a municipal retirement line, which is required since Mike will be a full-time employee. So that's 4,500. And the child care contribution line is 540
Sure.
I think
And that's
that
for
might-
everybody.
for everybody. Yeah.
Yeah,
Are
okay,
we sure
and we
that's
knew that.
not already calculated into the social security number?
And yep, and you calculated that correct too, because the one Bill gave me is the one that we figured out, which was 9.
There are always some
371.
trickle down things when you hire
Yes.
new help.
And like I said before, I'm not taking any insurance or any of that stuff. So that right
Thank
there.
you. Bill, I think it is in there.
What's that,
You
Matt?
take,
This number came from Carrie. This is not the number I put in there. This came from Carrie.
Okay, so
I know, but it's-
municipal retirement needs a new line entirely.
yeah.
Childcare contribution is already there at 508, but you're saying it's
540 now
Five
because of the additional.
540.
Would you say that,
But we-
4,500 for the municipal retirement?
Yes.
I believe when you take there's not a separate line for it here, right? Childcare.
It's a
wasn't
new line
before.
in everybody's budget.
Okay, so yeah, the problem is, and we're gonna have to look at this in all of them now, because I think some people already calculated it and baked it into the social security line, which appears to be the case here. If you take the 50,000 plus 53,000 plus the 12,500 and you multiply by 0.0809, I get rounding up 9344. This is 9371, so I'm not sure what the difference is, but
Mm,
it's approximately, it looks like it's in there.
all right.
No, because
Oh,
it would be, no, it would be 98. It would be
Carrie.
98.
What would
Carrie,
be the-
sorry, Carrie's on. She's trying to say something
Yep.
about that. So go
I
ahead.
gave Bill the spreadsheet from the Excel for all the department heads, and those numbers are accurate. So the social security is accurate. He had it right. And the childcare is separate. So it's 540.
So what's
Okay.
the social security based on then?
His salary, everything that we would pay out for payroll in his budget is
Oh, maybe
based
it's
on
separate.
social security.
Okay.
What was your number, Matt? Didn't it come to
I think-
9344? Or did you add in?
Yeah, I think what I didn't include probably was the Thompson referees.
Okay.
Oh, okay. All right, thanks for that, Carrie.
Yep, and
Probably
every
something
department head should have one of those. And so I checked all their numbers and we made the necessary changes this afternoon.
So you added a childcare
Sums.
line to everybody's budget, basically.
Yes,
Okay.
And social security includes
Just,
FICA
and Medi.
and, okay,
basically one for multiple deductions from everybody.
Mhm.
So his total expenses are 207, 211.
And
And
that's,
then the 27,000 for the food is still deducted, and then
180, 211.
182.
Oh, so this is different. Yeah,
Yes.
that's fine. Okay, all right. Yep, I'm
Just-
following now. We're all good.
180, 211.
And you'll make those.
And the
adjustments.
180, 211 is what we're asking for from taxes.
Correct.
Okay. That's always what we have to be careful that we get the right numbers on the budgets.
and ask for the right amount
Amount,
in
right.
our.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yes. When you know, what
Yeah.
depreciation,
Present
funds
the-
and budgets,
Yes.
you know, like I said, I take full responsibility for messing up the first year we did the highway budget. Cause I missed that. But we are learning. Right.
Yeah, we all do.
So I'd move to approve Mike's budget as presented to us with the two corrections that we made tonight.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded, so that's 207, 211 for total expenses. Net total 182,011. Right, and the big addition is the municipal retirement at 4,500.
This is amount to be raised by taxes.
Okay. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Carries 401 missing. 10, 24. So we have 15 more minutes. We could,
The only other thing was just quickly chatting about the depreciation that we had talked about in our meeting, and I don't know if this is the time to talk about that as far as the ballot and because there was discussion of changing others as well, other departments. So I'm just looking if this is the proper place that
Yes.
whatever the
Let's do
current,
it.
whatever the
You're here.
current, obviously, I think the others are going to increase from just hearing your conversations. Mine, I would like it to go to what the current fire depreciation is. So whatever that number is, 0, 1,
It's 1 3/4 cents.
whatever it is.
1 3/4 cents on per $100 of value. I think that's what it is.
yeah,
Something like that. I'm not sure what it's 1 3/4 cents.
Yeah.
no. Fire account depreciation fund is 1.75%.
Right,
And the rec depreciation is 0.75%.
right. We went up from what it was. We added 0.5 because of the pool, right? So
That was a
aren't we
while
put,
ago.
yeah, and we're supposedly putting that aside.
That's exactly what that is
And
for.
what you want to do now is add another penny to the half a penny, theoretically.
Theoretically,
Right.
yes.
So we'd be putting 1.5 cents.
Yeah, no, I
Into
heard
the
his
pool.
request, but he
Mhm.
also said that that the number was lower on the fire and it's not. It's.
Oh, he wants to go to
1.75.
what the fire was.
Exactly, but it wasn't 1.25, it's 1.75.
Right.
Yeah, he's at 1.25.
Yeah.
Rex at 1.25.
Is it?
Yeah.
Because it says in here it's at 0.75.
According to the vote in 2022. It's 1.25 or 0.25.
Oh, did we split it
Yes,
into two separate accounts?
I think it
You
is.
do, it's split
I
into two.
I think you
separate.
get a half a cent toward the pool fund and 3/4 of a cent toward,
Building.
everything
and-
else.
Building and, yeah, so.
yeah,
what will
because you
happen-
use yours a little differently.
Yes,
But for some reason that doesn't show up in our town report.
You may
Um,
not have split
Saying
it
the
up.
rec is currently total.
With-
See, the ballot item doesn't say it's separate.
No,
It just says it's raised to 1 3/4.
Yeah,
Or 1 1/4.
1.25.
and
what we
which,
did is,
which
once we
ballot
did
item
that,
is
we
that?
separated it for one for the pool, part, and so I think that just needs to be clarified.
And that's been since 22, so you collected that for
2 years.
2 years.
So,
So-
so you want to increase half a cent.
Whatever the current depreciation for the fire, what I would like it to increase to, so whatever that number is.
If we
Over,
look at probably return, well, I guess we'd take a look at it at the time the pool is built and see if we needed to leave it where it is, or we could actually return it back.
We
to
could
a lesser
definitely
number.
return it back, without a doubt.
All right, so it's presently, let me just make sure I have it. It's presently at 1.25%. Right, Kurt?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. And you want it to go up to 1.75%.
Correct.
And it's only confusing when you talk about the fire department. Okay, so just,
I was using that as the reference as to what.
yeah, well,
Because that would give you basically 1 cent going toward the pool fund and the 3/4, because I remember it was at 3/4 and we raised it by 0.5.
Yeah,
It doesn't say what the actual raise,
It went from a quarter to a half cent,
quarter to
Yeah.
a half.
and that was in 2010.
Yeah,
And then it went from a half cent to
1 1/4.
1
So we
1/4.
went up 3/4.
Which year?
That was
2010
2020.
is when it went from a quarter to a half, and then 22 it went up to 1 1/4.
Yeah.
From half a cent.
And that was the debate we had at the time, because at the time I said, let's go to fire, and we compromised and cut it, whatever half was at the time.
if we could go. I mean, your goal was to try to raise what?
My goal was to have a mill there when we started. That was my goal. Now, if you want to go higher, I mean, they voted, so it's up to the voters. I mean, it's you, and then obviously
mhm.
voters. It's if you, I'm gonna put that in your hands.
How much is in the account now, Mary? Did you? keep
Um,
it?
as of June 2023.
Yeah.
The amount is
Still got
431,790.
another year on top of
Got
that.
another year, which would be about
Do we
100.
have a June 24? No, we won't have that.
So-
till- We won't know until,
We got the audit
So-
coming, so.
right, we won't know until the next, but you could figure what 1 3/4, what it puts, I know somewhere we figured it out what it was every month. I did it with highway.
It's
They
like
get
150,000.
Yours is how much?
48,000, I think it's like 672 or something like that.
Yeah.
48, 672.
Yeah. And that's a year, right?
A year.
And,
60 grand.
and it's point. What's the highways? 0.5, so a half a cent raises 48,000. So theoretically, we're putting 48, 20, 70, we're putting about 72,000 a year into that fund.
And it would jump to whatever fire.
Well, you would end up with putting about a penny. Because you were at 3/4, so you would be putting, about a penny in there, which would be
What we
90,
raised
about 100,000 a year.
is 120,000.
We'd have to go 10 years to get a million, but we got,
But I'm already almost halfway there.
right, but part of that, but that's your total is 400.
Correct.
Part of that is your regular, which we'll say is
Buildings.
like 150, so you might have about a quarter of a million now.
Correct.
All right. But I think this is, to me, I've always said this is the way to go. We're gonna spend this money, and if we can fund most of that pool with money we have and not having to bond or borrow, we save the taxpayers the interest.
Really.
Because we're gonna spend it. We're gonna build a new pool, and if we go borrow $1.5 million, $2 million, you pay interest. And so they're gonna be taxed one way or the other for the new pool.
Mhm.
We either do it a little at a time, like we do for these, that's why these depreciation accounts work so well. We save.
And they're
the town
gaining
the
money.
interest.
Because they're in a money market.
Right,
And
so
we-
there's
but we
interest
save
income
the
too.
interest of borrowing money.
And if you rebuild, the rest of the stuff is gonna get rebuilt too, the buildings, not
Right.
just the hole in the
So
ground.
we won't, when the pool is built, we gotta determine, the sitting board here will determine how much of that depreciation fund to allocate toward the new pool.
Correct.
And how much you keep in reserve for the other facility needs that are there.
Correct. Because mine's
it's
broken
great.
down. In my depreciation, there's multiple, like there's buildings, there's fencing, there's ground, there's a couple of different.
You got pool,
Items.
you got.
But
your
all that's gonna be
mechanical stuff.
included in a new pool.
Right, all the plumbing should be. new.
Correct.
But there will be some maintenance on that stuff between now and then.
Correct.
And there'll come a point where we're gonna say, okay. There, you'll see, there'll come a time where the maintenance will
Uh-huh.
we'll get to the point where we'll say, okay, we gotta go now.
We're throwing,
And your job is going to be to research pool designs, pool materials. I'm sure that in the years since that pool was built, there's better technologies out there for building pools. Gotta be.
sure there is. My first call will be to the city because they went through this just not too long ago.
Right.
And so that will be my first step.
And they're either gonna tell you, yeah, we like what we got, or no, don't go this way.
But it's also,
But that's
it's,
what, yeah,
but it's also a specialty niche too, like
Right.
pool building in the area. It's not like,
So what's your
Can't do it.
pleasure? Do you want to vote on this, putting this request for 1.75 on the ballot?
I
If
would-
it's so,
I'd
somebody
make
needs to
motion
make a
that we-
motion,
yeah,
okay.
I'd make motion, we increase the recreation depreciation from its current 1.25, and I don't know, cents percent or whatever, to 1.75.
Okay, motion's made
Second it.
and seconded. Discussion.
I think we beat it up pretty good for you, Mary.
You did.
I did.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, it's 4-0 with one not voting. Okay. So 2 things disposed of, and we still have time left to rough up,
you
ask
can
more
beat me up.
questions of Mike.
hopefully it's gonna go smooth for you, whoever's
Okay.
next on deck. Yeah. I don't have anything else unless you guys have anything for me. No.
Okay.
And we are meeting on Monday, or.
Oh,
so we're
right,
moving
right,
it to the
right.
30th is
Yeah,
the next time,
'cause-
right? Is that the next time?
Yeah,
we're meeting?
Curtin,
Oh, no, we meet next week. Sorry, I
Next week,
apologize for
yeah.
that. Okay.
and Kurt didn't want to meet on New Year's Eve. I don't know why. That's-
Oh,
We're here the 17th.
You're a young
and the
guy.
30th.
Go out,
There'd be a
celebrate, toast the
very-
town.
big mug on my desk if that was the case.
And we'd get some splendid decisions out of them.
All right, cool.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Mhm.
We'll see you next week.
Yes,
Thanks, Mike.
okay.
You guys. Thanks.
Next up, Chris Clark. What, sorry?
Have fun, Mike. He's going.
Oh,
Next one.
good evening.
Good evening. I got a couple changes on our paperwork, Mary, so
Okay. This is the fire budget in case you were confused. Okay,
let me tell you the changes first.
sure.
Telephone,
Okay, what line or what page?
55,023. When we spoke, the committee, we put 3,000. I'm gonna up it to 4,400 because I realized the 4146 was just for Center Rutland Station. It wasn't for both.
Okay, okay.
And I think we talked about moving the safety building to the town budget, correct?
Yes,
So 4,400 should be,
Okay, so my budget shows that to yours. Our
it is
sheet,
now,
yeah.
but it wasn't originally, so that is a change, okay?
and under 55,026 cable service, we upped that to, or we dropped it to 2,000. I'm gonna drop it to 1,500. Because it's not as expensive as I thought.
And again, that's just for center?
Yes. And
This is our
third
transition.
thing,
here.
Social Security. We put it up to 7,500, but with the 3% increase you guys approved, it'll actually be 9,000, not 7,500.
Okay, oh, so social security, what I have in front of me is 75,
Right.
so you need it to go up to 9.
Yep.
But the other 2 are already amended,
No.
Well, they are on our sheet.
They're
or on our sheet,
Oh,
Yeah.
okay,
okay.
perfect.
Yep, yep.
So we'll just have to change the Social Security.
So,
And child care contribution is on the
Is,
back.
is that accurate on this one?
It's 513.
Okay.
Yep.
It's 513.
So I did not total it with the new 9,000.
It's gonna be $1,500 more than it was.
538.
Say that again?
262,538.
Funny how $1,500 works that way.
Okay.
Bill, when you update these, I'm sure you'll also update these nice percentages.
So doing a lot of stuff for those today, they're coming off the page. They're
Okay.
just not calculating right.
Yeah.
Okay,
I remember that was an
And,
issue
and
last
they
year.
mean absolutely nothing to us.
yes, right,
They mean nothing, so
okay,
they have left the page.
okay,
That's pretty good.
forever,
We will have a total budget difference, but the individual ones like this are just not. There's a lot of variables and it's not.
creates hate and discontent, to
Best
quote a
line-
fellow
best line
select board
building
member.
Yeah.
so we-
And not to mention confusion.
Yes.
Yes,
So just a couple of questions. We probably talked about it already, but the following things, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are only going to be on my budget for Center Rutland. So tell me if I'm correct. Building maintenance, electricity, telephone, water, sewer, and heating fuel.
Right.
Correct?
I believe so. Yes. That's my
we
understanding.
just need to make sure we've picked them up in
Yeah.
the general
Stick
budget.
around for the general budget.
Right,
And I did get a bill for, they filled up the propane tanks. I gave it back to put it in the town. It was like $3,000 to fill
Yeah.
those 2 new tanks.
And-
So,
And
let's
I-
put it in.
I think did we add some lines in the general
did.
for the
We did For
PSB?
this, well,
Public-
for this current budget, yes, we did. And let me see if
24,
that was,
25.
because we knew this was a transition year.
Let's see if it goes in short, should be toward the end.
We have 5,000.
Maintenance, 2,000, 3,000 for electricity and 5,000 for heating fuel. So you did right to turn that over. Yeah, okay.
The other two we're gonna be picking up are the
We're picking up phone.
phone and the electricity. that
And
we
we've
can-
already got electricity, so we're picking up phone and water sewer,
Water sewer.
because we're not
Exactly.
gonna,
Yeah.
you know,
There's no way to separate it.
right, okay.
So we do have a place for you to pay, that'll pay that propane bill for that building.
perfect. When the water is hooked up, I don't know if it is or not, but I'd probably have to call the city because they do put a water meter on.
You can,
Just for the sewer. We don't
Yeah.
actually pay for water. It's just a meter.
right, they have to monitor the water going in.
Yeah.
Which,
Well,
so,
that's interesting,
so it's,
because you're gonna wash your fire trucks, and that's not gonna go through the system. So we're actually going to be paying more in sewer than,
No, I believe it goes down to the city.
yeah,
Doesn't just
everything
dump
goes
over
through the
bank.
sewer. I think it all goes through a sewer. Well, if there's water, I believe there's
doesn't it run off
separators
the
and sink.
lot?
no.
Doesn't go into the,
Now that for ever since,
Floor drains.
ever since the the sewer line was run up to the station, when they ran the line up, they put 2 manholes out on the east side, and those were the separators.
Yeah.
And then it went into the system.
Yep.
Yeah. And center is the same way. Everything that goes through that building goes into the system, but if I recall, your apparatus bay truck washing does not. I don't know how that works.
There's
through-
2 meters in Center Rutland.
Yeah, but I don't know about this station. Some of that is take, but I guess depends on where the meter is put
There's 1 meter on to fill the truck and there's 1 meter on for the rest of the building.
for center.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
This
yeah.
place
'cause-
will have.
yeah, because you're taking it, but see, some of this water is gonna come out of that cistern at McKinley.
Right, but it's still gonna be filled by the well to top it off.
Yeah,
So can we plumb?
oh, wait a minute.
I'm trying to think,
There's
there's,
probably not already plumbed that.
it's all
well.
plumbed, it's probably,
Probably
everything's
meter.
probably gonna go through that meter going in,
Right,
Yeah.
I believe it is.
which I guess is accurate, because if it's all coming in and it's all going out the drains, then it'll be accurate.
And then well, I know West Rutland or Center Rutland, whichever does the water over there now, and the city will do the same. Every year I have to pay to fill the sprinkler system, even though it never gets empty.
Right, yeah, you pay for standing water.
Yeah.
And it's out, but I don't understand why you shouldn't have to pay for that at McKinley. And do not pay for it because it's not their water.
Oh, you're right. So just Center Rutland.
In Center Rutland, so the fire district #1 charges you the same as the city
They do.
for water, for putting water in a sprinkler system.
Standby, yeah, standby water.
I wonder if
And-
West
and they
Rutland,
charge
do you
us
think
for-
West Rutland does too?
I don't know. I don't think they've switched yet, to be honest with you.
They have not. Well, it'd be interesting to see what happens when West Rutland takes over. Maybe every municipal water system charges for the water and the sprinkler.
Yeah.
Because they were charging the school for water in the sprinkler
Yeah, I
system and the school
remember.
wasn't sprinkled.
I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like 40 grand.
Well, it also has something to do with they gotta keep a certain percentage of the flow ratings of the sprinklers in the city in the reservoir. I think,
Oh,
if I remember that. So there's a calculation as to how much flow and sprinklers they can have to the size of the
Do you
reservoir.
want to enlighten us, Dave, or no?
That's pretty much it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've always wondered,
Standby water.
Yeah.
I've always wondered, why businesses have to pay for water in the sprinkler system.
so,
Because
it has to be there.
School isn't the anomaly either. It's happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I understand it, Larry, but they can
Yes,
pay
well,
for it when you
remember-
use it. But why do you have to pay for it? Well, it's there. And you pay for it multiple times without ever using it. Get my drift? Anyway, okay.
okay, just to, when we do the general budget, I think we add 3 lines. Water, sewer, cable, and phone, and those are, water, sewer is 1, cable is 1, and phone is 1, because we just.
Yeah.
So we've got 6 items for the public safety building. Okay.
So they're not in here now.
3 are.
3 are maintenance, electricity, and heating fuel, but the other 3 are not yet.
Well,
Are they in there? Are they in the budget? Okay, all right. All right, so, anything else we should be aware of going through?
Not too much changes, couple decreases, couple increases.
Mhm.
The big thing I wanted to talk about was the driveway in Center Rutland.
Yes,
To rip it up and pave it is like 64.5. It'd probably be cheaper. Dave's gonna put it in his paving bid. And then in-house, they're gonna, for us, put a storm drain under the gutters. Run it over to the stream ditch there.
all right, so
So I don't know, I didn't know where to put that. So I
there's nothing
add
in
it in.
here at this point. That's a capital, potentially a capital improvement anyway.
Oh, is it? I didn't know if I was supposed to put it in building
We have any money.
maintenance.
Yeah, if we have it,
I didn't add it to the budget you have in front of you.
do you have a rough idea of the cost of paving that,
$64,500.
to pave that parking lot?
that's.
That,
That's to dig it up. Two
So that's
coats.
basically a standalone price.
Yeah.
If I roll it into my bid, it'll obviously be a little bit better price, but
Yeah.
that's the standalone. That's to take out all of the asphalt.
so you didn't,
Base, which is top.
so for taking his garage for a year and a half, you don't think you want to ask him to pay for this?
Yeah,
It should be the other way,
yeah.
right? That's the way some people would look at this. Well, I used you for garage for a year and a half, so you should pay for this. Get some people thinking, so,
So it's going to be capital anyway.
I think so.
Capital.
And the question is which capital? I mean, yeah, it would be the capital if there's anything left.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna put it down. All right, I'm not gonna deduct it because we're not paying for it now.
Highway,
So when would
Yeah, the
you,
highway always has money left over.
easy, but the 3 of us are working on spending. it. So I'm just trying to think of where it would fit in. So if we paved it after the 1st of July, we'd have a little better handle on capital improvement funds based on this year's incomes and leftovers.
Basically, we just have to have Dave put in his bid and
And then
it'll happen, when it happens, and we'll.
either reimburse the highway out
Yeah.
of one of the other accounts for that extra money. That would be the way to do it.
Okay.
You know
Well, we
what
don't
you're
have
roughly
to-
gonna spend, we know what this is, so if it comes to say 52,000 when they actually do it. Is the plan to take the pavement right out
It is.
and get rid of it, and then you guys are gonna do the drain work for him? Okay. So that way you can, are you gonna rip the pavement up too? Or
Depends on timing and where we are. I don't have a problem with it. Probably a few days, depending on the machine we have or whatever, but
Yeah.
it's doable.
Yeah.
Wilton's right there, so it's a short drag.
So that's where that would go because it's not ground. There wouldn't be much you could do with it other than bring it to Wilkes. Yeah. And then get it done. So just a matter of timing and then where the money comes. If it all goes through highway, then we find out we've got enough in the capital improvement fund to pay for this. We can just reimburse that amount back into highways.
And I could just have that, just that project itself built separately.
Yeah. Yeah. It's gotta be done.
Well,
I'm
but it's
disappointed that
nothing-
it didn't last longer.
Me too.
I know, really.
What is it? 11 years old?
Well, we moved in 14,
10.
so it's gonna be 11 years and well, they probably paved it now,
Right.
October of 13, so it's 11 years. That's kind of, you would think that would have lasted longer.
One would think.
I just think if we don't catch it, it'll look like the old McKinley
Yeah,
Avenue.
you're
Yeah.
gonna,
Yeah.
the longer you go, the worse it gets. And you do have that water issue that you might as well get that corrected at the same time.
Now, do you know when West Rutland does take over water, do they have to dig up the road and put something in anyway, a pressure reducer or something, or?
I don't believe so.
Yes, they do.
They do?
Maybe not the road, but yes, there's a valve that has to go in there before they can flip the switch.
So we want-
So the
Valves already-
water is going, the water comes through that
Don't
10-inch main,
Yeah.
crosses the road and goes through the 8-inch main. We bought the fire district over there.
Somewhere.
That's how it feeds.
Somewhere there's a pressure reducing valve and the fire district is paying to put it.
Yeah, they might have put a pressure reducer in.
Yes, no, they do have to.
That would be a bad time.
So would it,
West Rutland has some
so would it be
power behind it.
when it enters the town, which would be further down Route 4? Or because there's other taps prior to the
They-
fire station.
They might put it in the ditch right there in front of the fire station.
Well, yeah, but
that's where
there,
the
but there are
valve
other
is.
taps off that main.
Yeah, but that's already fed. That's all new high pressure.
Right.
They'll probably put it right in front of the fire station right there, because that's where the valve is.
Is it
that
just
feeds
for the fire station or is it for the whole district?
Yeah.
It's the feed for the whole.
Because the fire district's already tied to West Rutland right in front of the fire
And there's a
station.
valve there that they shut off.
So they'll probably put the pressure reducing valve right there.
Yeah, because we asked, when they ran the 8-inch main and they built the station, we asked them to put a shut off at the end of that 8-inch stub. And that's where they came across and hooked right to it.
Yeah.
So there'll be a valve, but it should be somewhere in the area where the hydrant is and where that line comes across.
So
Is that where you're
Somewhere in the
paving?
parking lot.
Huh? It's still in the parking lot?
in the ditch, hopefully.
Okay, note to self, don't pave until that project. is-
Well, the thing is, as soon as you know that they're taking over, then you can get a hold of somebody in West Rutland and ask them, okay, are you gonna be digging my parking lot up anytime soon? Preferably before, Dave-
West Rutland isn't doing it.
No?
The fire district.
Has
It's
to
the
pay.
fire district's responsibility. So Howard basically is the one in charge. He's in charge of, they have to do that before West Rutland takes over. That's one of the criteria.
So what's the timing? Do we know yet?
I have, it's unclear.
Oh, okay,
It was supposed to be July.
last year.
Yeah.
Or this
year.
past July, okay.
so if I understand right, all the taps prior to where the connection is made at the station already have something on them. The ones down,
The pressure reducing valves are in the basement.
all the hotels is down through, and so because they're coming off the new main and your water is still
I
coming
won't
off. the
pay
fire
until I figure that part out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So as to the fire budget, any other questions, any other issues? So the paving cost is not going in this. That's a
No.
discussion for another time.
I move where we accept the fire budget as presented.
Okay,
Second.
motion's made and seconded. If there's no further discussion, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, that's 4-0-1. And depreciation, no depreciation request this year?
No,
Increase,
we're good.
okay. So no increase there.
So I was trying to keep track of this.
Anything else?
I got one more thing.
Okay,
If can be done tonight. I have an application.
oh, okay.
All right, we'll take
Get
that.
approved so he can start coming on Wednesday.
Is
His
this
name's,
someone in this town?
he lives in, He's a senior in high school.
Good. Quinton?
Yeah, Quinn.
Oh, is it Quinton? All
Yeah.
right. Warner Hall? Hill? Hall, okay. Kind of hard to read his, we don't screen for handwriting.
Printing requests.
Yeah.
Won't be the secretary. of
All
the
have to
department.
print and sign.
So it looks like Ed Dumas has signed, so apparently he did us something.
He did the check, yep.
Okay. All right. And we have room for someone from outside the town? Okay. Is there a motion? Motion to accept
Second.
and seconded? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. It's 4-0-1. So I guess we all get to sign.
So what's your total actives, sort of active,
I think we're up to 33.
33? You're still doing better than probably a lot of departments.
Yeah. Do you ask these folks what got them interested in?
I did actually.
Yeah.
His friend joined maybe a year ago. So got him into it.
Okay. Good. Word of mouth still works. All right, so this is now approved. Okay, 2 down. Thank you very much, Chief.
Aaron, you want that, Chris?
Yeah.
Thanks.
All right. Next on the agenda is highway.
I'll get started with money coming in, state
Okay.
aid. That's a shot in the dark. It's what we got this year. It's what we got last year. Who knows what they're gonna do?
Yeah, it's weird that we got that much state aid. It's pretty consistent.
Yeah,
Well, it's hopped around, but maybe that's because the installment payments were made at different times. Because last year it was 355. The
And I
year
don't
before
know,
it was 88.9. So I'm wondering if,
Maybe that's what it is.
yeah,
anyway,
anyway,
we'll take it. And if
okay.
they don't ask for it back, we'll spend it.
yeah,
haven't asked yet.
okay.
Perfect.
And then everything's pretty much the same as we got on the list. Well, kept all of our winter stuff pretty much the same.
Wait, can I go back to, sorry to interrupt. On the revenue side, we're not projecting any state grants?
So I've got money coming back for this year. Next year, when the class 2 stuff goes out, I got a grant all set up and ready to go for the Stratton Road Bridge. But that is, by the time we get approved for the grant, get the bid docs out, get everything set up, that's gonna be into probably the 26 construction season before that gets started. So that, I don't see that happening
Well, how do you define 26 construction?
Yeah.
Because that could
Spring.
be the,
calendar year.
well,
So
the first half of that's. in
Yeah,
there.
I mean,
We aren't 100% approved for that grant yet either.
no,
So we
no, that's
can't-
what I'm saying.
we can't budget
Yeah,
for
I
it.
can't predict it. Because that engineer's estimate was $500,000 on that project, so.
That's that culvert in the dip there.
Okay. So do you guys, highway guys, do you want to put anything in for grants?
You
I wouldn't
can't-
put anything in that I don't know we're in line for.
Yeah. If we
If we-
if we don't have any grants, we can't.
If we know that
So-
something, if we end up getting a grant in this next, or in this fiscal year, which will be July of 25 till June of 26, then I guess it's above and beyond, but right now I don't see anything.
I
Because
don't
if we did get the structures grant, then that project would probably happen during the summer of 26, which is when this budget would end.
Yeah.
Right.
And we would have that grant once we would know next year to put the money into the next budget that starts in July, and we'd be paying for this probably by the end of summer. Cause you're talking probably they'll start in April, May, and it'll take half a summer to do. Or the timing would be, and depending on what they design, whether it's gonna be another culvert or it's gonna be
It
concrete.
is a box culvert.
Box culvert.
And that's kind of where I went with this was, it took forever to get that one for Town Line Road.
Yeah.
I don't know what lead times are on this stuff now, but I don't believe they're probably not much better.
They're not great. No.
Yeah. So we can put the grant in whatever budget we know we're getting.
Right.
And then we can show that.
I don't know where this is going, but Barbara has applied for a grant for the pocket park, some of which we would be probably using the highway folks for. And there is so there's potential income, I think, of 35,000 from that, and we have to match it with.
Where are we putting any
In
pocket
kind.
park
That's a question.
expenses? Are we gonna
Yeah,
put it in the general?
I don't know, and that's an open question. I don't
Yeah,
know, and
okay.
I raise it now because I know you folks have.
Or should we put that into rec? Would this be part of rec?
It might very well be part of rec.
And since, or we can just.
She did reach out to me last week, I believe, and asked for our pay rates and equipment rates and stuff
Okay,
like
yeah.
that to try to offset whatever her number. She didn't tell me what the number was in the grant, but
Yeah. Because we have to do about a 20% match if we get
Generally
the
what they
grant,
are.
and that would probably be in kind using,
Yeah.
rec and highway guys. So, okay,
I just don't, those
Anyway,
are
I
some
don't
of those
wanna
other
lose
grants. I don't
track
know
of
where the
that.
heck we put them.
yeah,
Cause we don't, some of this new stuff is easy with, like the grant you got for paving Post Road. Doesn't really show up in any budget
right.
because it was after
It
the
was
budget
after
and the money comes
that
in.
grant
gets
comes
paid.
out in January.
Yeah,
It's an in and out
it's
transaction.
an in and out transaction. Did that cost us anything? Or did we get that, with that whole project paid for? The Post Road.
No, we're 20% in that.
So we
So-
had 20,
Yeah,
so, and we cover that through either our carryover or your paving.
right. It was about 20 grand.
But those,
Okay.
so you can't, and you can't budget for those because you don't know if you're gonna get one until you,
yeah, I know.
yeah, they're not in the
But
same.
the only thing is, if we do apply and get one, we want to make sure that we have money to match whatever the match
Right.
is.
That, I
So-
thought about that because if this project costs $500,000, that's 120 grand,
Uh-huh,
which would be in the 27 budget.
okay, yeah,
That's why we
Most
always try
likely.
to carry along a little bit of carryover money.
And,
you guys
type
get
of
to do
stuff.
that.
right,
Yeah.
and it is because highways got the most
Yeah, the-
volatile.
The auditor says we need to spend that down.
I know, he says that every
I
year.
highly disagree with him.
Right.
We'll have another
need-
year and another audit report, and he'll probably tell us the same
Yeah,
thing again.
and we
so-
need to not follow that because we need to have some
Guilty
money
comes
there
out
for these
financing.
types of
For those
situations.
Irene storms and you gotta go put in $150,000 something, we might get some back through FEMA or something, but the
That's-
town's gotta lay out
That
the money.
FEMA stuff drags on forever.
It might be
Yes,
10
it
years
does.
before, right? So you
I've done
need to be
FEMA
able to,
work.
if you have to hire a contractor to come in and put a road back,
Mhm.
you gotta do it.
Yep.
So, all right.
So, okay, so we've gotten our income, we're satisfied with 120,000. Then expenses, so,
Kind of pretty much went level funded for most of the winter stuff. The salt shed utilities went up 300 because that's what it costs to run the lights in that place for whatever reason. And everything else kind of stayed the same. As we go down the list. All this other stuff, we just carried it across.
Very changed this afternoon.
okay,
Where there was- so, do you have 18.5 for social security?
no,
Okay. Social Security is 18.5.
There is social security.
5051, it's the first one after a bunch of blanks.
right, mid on the second page.
5051.
Mhm. That's on the left page.
Oh, there we
Joe.
go. I have a different second page.
Just saving paper this year, double sided.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So social security 18,500, retirement is 20,763.
Got that.
Okay,
Yeah.
insurance 165.
So it's down from 167.
Yes.
Even 165, Bill?
That's what she said, yes.
Okay, then what was the social security again? I missed that.
20763.
2076.
No, that's municipal retirement.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
you're right.
yeah.
So is the security.
Social security 18,500.
18.5. I
Yeah.
thought that's what you said. Okay.
Sorry.
That one's right, that one's right. All right.
I think some of the salaries were just a little bit off. So down a little more, 5101 road commissioner 70854.
That's what we've got.
Number position 153, 140.
140.
Yep.
Okay,
2 is 51,958.
got it.
Next page, position 3 is 49,275.
Okay, 49,275.
And childcare contribution is 1049.
1049. Okay,
Total of 1,113,339.
so it's down a smidge.
That's interesting.
What's the net?
Yeah, thank Carrie, Dave. She made.
And do you have the net? Did you
Yeah.
do the net, Bill?
Give me a grand.
Oh, just subtract 120, right?
Oh, I'm sorry, 993,339.
What was that one?
That's the net.
Oh,
After you
Less than
take the-
120.
So it looks like training seminars, there's a big increase for that.
Yep.
Was that CDL for
That is
something?
CDL. Yep.
Okay.
Gonna get, go through Casella. It's like $3,500.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're not gonna do the highway book anymore? Haven't, I guess, for a few years.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was completed or
I don't
got as far as it
think
could go
so.
or.
It's not.
I think we're
Or I think
struggling
it
to
probably,
find
we
people
can't
to
find
do it.
anybody to do it. Maybe
Yeah,
that's,
I used to have a steady stream of
yeah.
law school graduates I could tap, but I don't have that. I mean, I think they've moved on to other things.
Then as we move down the list, winter contractors,
Yeah,
I dropped that from 75 to 65. Last year we paid out 60,
okay.
so that still leaves me a little bit of just in case. Salaries, communications is the next big one. We basically did a bear hug around all of our phones and radios and internet and everything and put it all in one big giant box. And that's the number that it's gonna cost us to communicate.
That's phone and radio?
That's phone, radio, and internet.
Okay,
We rent the radios for the contractors during the winter and we pay a lease on the radios we have in the trucks and that whole thing, so.
okay.
And
Maintenance is up.
maintenance is up because it is.
Got broke
we-
stuff.
I don't even want to see where that comes in this year.
You're already, when you. Funny, you get
Yeah.
more toys and there's more broken toys.
I mean, we paid $13,000 for a valve bank that went in the loader, so.
Yeah.
This year's budget is for that is gonna be
Hurt
upside
already.
down for sure.
Yeah. Funny part is they're not any cheaper in the mini loaders either.
No, I'm sure.
I just priced one out. 12.8.
Well, the good news is you haven't checked it all yet this year.
Well,
You can probably buy a gasket.
okay. It's plowing season. That means breakage.
You got all your trucks back?
Yeah.
Earl's figure out what was wrong with that one.
Yeah, I haven't got the bill on it yet, but
Yeah.
I'm be sure to be seated when I get it.
Yeah.
Um,
They have to put a rear end?
So the part-time position,
So
was that the mower?
that was the mower. So I I kind of did that my first year and a half or so, just because there was, just a short crew and trying to figure it all out, and Walt was willing to do it. He's got way too many things on his plate, and I don't really want to train anybody, and
Okay.
Jason's pretty good at it, and I got the 2 extra guys now, so I can just send him to go do the thing, and I don't really need it.
Okay. And the on-call pay thing is working okay?
Yes, it's working good.
Okay, good. And the building maintenance is level funded at 5,000?
Yep.
The fire department guys haven't dinged it up too bad?
Not too bad.
Okay,
Oh, yeah,
When?
they're moving out in October.
Yeah.
I just never said what October. They got my hopes up, and then October was gone.
alrighty. Well, those are my questions. Anybody else have any? The biggie is the grants that aren't there. So it's not an increase in expense, it's really a decrease in revenues mostly.
Right.
Okay,
And again, it's in January, the class 2 stuff comes out, so I'll be applying for class 2 paving grant, and there will be some money coming from that and so on, but that will go, the application time for the structures grant and the paving grants are the same. It's the same
so,
thing, so
but that'll be for the year that we're working on.
the paving will, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, because
I still think we're shortchanging ourselves.
I just don't know what to
You
put in.
can't budget money for grants that you might not get.
Because we got turned down for paving last year.
Yeah, so I'm wondering if
We got a paving
All
grant
right.
this year.
so,
why not
and
get
we
it
may
again?
not get one next year because they may not give you 2 in a row.
Right. Or they may say, okay, well, you got to do the structure at $500,000, and we're not gonna.
Right.
There's,
And then maybe we can get a paving grant to pave where we do that. Where were you thinking of applying for the paving grant?
I haven't really sat down and figured it out just yet. I'm looking at, I actually put a call into Tom Fuller because I got some money left over for spring. So I was thinking about going to that David, Susan, Ruth neighborhood.
Have
Start,
they done monkeying around up there?
I talked to, what is this, stormwater
Oh, yeah.
consultants or whatever they are.
Andres.
And yeah, and he said I could pretty much do whatever I need to do there. Just be careful of that north end road because that's where that stormwater thing is going to go and daylight out into Velco. But the rest of it is fair game. So I'm going to, my plan is to pave as much as I can with what I've got left from this year between the grant money that I got back from the state, plus what I've got left over in my budget, and then figure out what that is. And then maybe do part of Killington Avenue because it's kind of all right in there. Well, I could probably do all of Killington Avenue from the city line to town line would probably be my class 2 piece.
Good plan.
Okay. Any other questions on highway? Highways leaving do you have a depreciation? You must have a depreciation account.
Oh, yes.
Are you leaving that be, or that's a different?
That we were
discussion?
going to discuss that after we.
All right, so is there a motion on the highway budget?
Move to approve the budget as presented and with the changes and as presented.
second,
Motion's made and seconded, so the total expenses are 1,113,339. And with the 120,000 income applied, the net total is 993,339. I get those numbers right? Okay,
That's the read.
right. Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor of approving for the voters' consideration the highway budget, please say aye.
Right.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 401. Okay,
So after our meeting, we had a couple of meetings, but the last one we had discussed this, and we would like to request increase from the 0.5% to 1%, or half a cent to 1 cent for highway. That would be
Second.
Motion's made and seconded to go to 1% from
1%,
half a
1%.
percent.
somebody has to sit down, Mary, and work on that wording. We're either gonna get none, or we're gonna be able to buy several new trucks.
So the way that it is printed in the report is this account is funded with 0.5% of assessed taxes.
Okay,
I don't know if that's the correct wording, but that's the way it's
Yeah.
printed on the report.
We want to ask Kevin to draft us generic language for
Yeah.
increasing this, so that we can just plug and play it
Yeah,
down the road.
yeah.
the language that was in the original or the upgrade for fire was the proper language. Because some of these looks like they prohibit you from doing things or allow you to do things that we didn't. And so whenever we ask, we should try to get the language the same for recreation and for highway, police, fire, whatever one we're doing.
So, Joe, what is the status of the depreciation fund balance and your anticipated needs?
So I looked it up. I think the balance is somewhere around 264,000. I had written it down someplace and I
So
thought I
in,
skipped it.
as of June 30th, 2023.
Yeah.
It was 273,651.
Right, and
And you
so
bought something.
we
Dave's pickup, I think.
we bought Dave's pickup out of there, and then we have collected money in September of 23, January of 24. We've put 448,000 or four payments in there. I think it raises
It
48,000
does,
a year.
48.
So
Yep.
we've put about 96 back, and your truck was somewhere in the 80, 75, 80.
Yeah, just shy of 50.
Well, I meant with the plow and everything.
Oh, yeah,
The
with
total
the
was
plow,
close
yeah.
to 70, wasn't it? 65.
Yeah, it's probably close. to
It was an amount that made tears come to my eyes because I can't buy one like that.
No.
Anyway, so we were figuring, then Dave gave us some numbers and I wrote them down on this godforsaken desk of mine. So I had stuff, but you're looking at about 230 grand. There it is right there. Look at that. So just to replace one of the 7-yard trucks ready to go is about 238,000.
When do we have to do that?
Yeah,
Well,
it's on the
now-
schedule.
So what we're thinking,
Right
because
now.
we're thinking that we might have to, so right now there's enough money in the account to do this. I think there's about, I think it was 260 is what I think I came up with. The truck, by the time the truck gets here, we'll have made 2 payments, January and May. So there'll be roughly another 32,000 going in there, which I think I figured it up, it's gonna be around 290 or somewhere in there. If we order the truck now, there'll be enough to do it, but the wait time is, would you say 12 to 14 months?
Yep.
So if we authorize him to replace one of his trucks now and get the ball rolling, they may not have it until January of next year.
So we've got what, three of those?
We got 3 of them.
Three of them.
Yeah.
We got
So
3.
then
And
how
then-
long till the next one
Yeah.
after that?
Then we're gonna figure out the stagger would have to be, try to get them in, well, there's multiple ways to do this. You can go to some dealerships that will allow you to buy a truck, run it for 5 years,
5 years. Yeah.
and they'll guarantee you
A buyback.
a
price.
buyback on that truck. Might be a good thing to look into.
Yeah.
And then, so we would be replacing a truck. These big trucks you'd be replacing, well, with 3 of them, you're gonna be replacing
Every
roughly,
2 years.
Every year and a half, 2 years. Yeah.
yeah, about 2 years you'd be replacing one.
Didn't we just do 2 of these pretty recently?
You know, we might be able, see, I'm
Old used
thinking,
Trucks
Huh?
to get us by. We
So-
bought 2
we
used
bought 2
trucks.
used trucks, we're gonna get 2 years out of one, probably 3 years out of the other, and then the town's original truck. I think we can go longer. I think I'd like to sit down with Dave and kind of work out a schedule like I did for the fire department on how we replaced them and get into
Yes.
that
We
stagger.
should do that with any piece of heavy equipment.
Try
that
to
we
get
have
into
to
that
do.
stagger.
We have to look into that buyback deal, because
Yeah.
you're not gonna be spending, 260 grand every time, 230 grand every time.
I did talk to ATG about this.
Yeah.
And it's basically a 7-year deal,
7.
seven.
That's even better.
Yeah.
Okay.
And when you pick up the truck, he'll tell you what he'll give you for a trade if all the fenders are on it. And
It's gotta be
Yeah,
right. It's
You
got,
don't roll it over the bank.
Yeah,
and-
but if it's in good shape, 7 years, they'll tell you, we'll give you 100,000 for it, or 108,000, whatever. And then, so you take that 200 and some odd $1,000 truck and,
you're gonna get about half.
Get
You're
about
gonna get quite
half-ish.
half back. The 7-year rotation is pretty, that would be pretty good.
That's about optimal, yeah.
Right, but for the 3 that we have now, basically, we're gonna be replacing those at full price.
Well, if you
So,
replace one
Yearly.
in 25, the next one is gonna have to be replaced in probably 28. And then,
If you're getting 100,000 in a year, you're gonna
and
have
then the
over
next, so
300,000
this
in it.
truck, if you buy it in 25, it should be replaced in 32. And you've got to replace 2 in between.
So it seems like it's probably the right number, at least for now, but maybe at some point you could
Well, the
actually roll it back a little bit.
other part of this is we have a loader coming up that's gonna need
The loader's
replacement.
gonna have to
That's
go
about 250,000.
just for a loader.
And then we're gonna have a roadside mower that's gonna be coming up on replacement as well. This is all within, say, 10 years.
And then the 550 is already, this will be its 3rd winter, right?
third.
Yeah.
So that's already, so,
So I believe you,
right.
and.
We'll be,
and I'm
we'll be
gonna
looking at
support the
something
increase,
every.
But what I really, really, really want is an equipment replacement schedule, because that makes the argument right
Right,
there.
we could, you're almost gonna be looking at replacing something. Well, we got loader, 4 trucks. That's 5 pieces, and the mower makes 6. Realistically, almost something every year.
The loader,
Well, the loader will last longer though. The
yeah, that's a
loader,
25-year replacement. I
yeah,
think.
the loader might last. We got,
25 years sounds about
I think the
right.
loader's a
Yeah.
25-year replacement.
the loader
schedule.
doesn't get the same abuse. Although you do use it more often.
Year round,
Right,
yeah.
but,
All
so,
right.
and
So
then if we,
has anybody made a motion
Kurt made the motion to
to increase
increase
it
to
to
1%, I
1%?
second.
Okay, motion's been
And we're in
made
the
and seconded.
discussion phase now, trying to
Yeah.
I could tell
justify
that.
why we want.
I could tell that part. Yeah. Any further discussion?
But we will get you some kind of, we'll have to sit down and
'Cause
do
I've
some.
asked the
brainstorming.
police department to do that. The fire already has it, but they
Some of that is we
need
have
to upgrade it a bit because there
we have
was.
to figure out this Patriot deal and figure out what we're gonna be getting back off these trucks before you can really come up with a schedule.
Yeah. Okay.
Does that tie us to one particular brand of truck? What,
Western Star.
Western Star, you okay with that?
Yeah.
I mean, the components are all the same. I know the front ends, rear ends, drivetrains are the same, but
Cab.
the cabs are different in those amenities. I mean, visibility, you okay with the one we got? You like the
Yeah.
guys?
Yeah.
I personally like the fleet attitude. They're all the same,
Mhm.
interchanging parts.
That's
And,
helpful.
and if the guys have to drive somebody else's truck, it's pretty much the same.
Right.
And it's, they all have their own quirks. 2 motors never up, but
Okay, so if you're ready for the motion, this is increasing from 0.5% to 1% for highway depreciation. All in favor, please say aye.
Alright.
Aye. Motion carries 4-0-1. Okay,
I would also make a motion that we authorize Dave to start working towards the procurement of a new plow truck. You
okay.
gotta get that ball rolling, because if we're 14 months, you're already missing this next winter, which means we have to get 2 more winters out of one of the problem child trucks.
Okay. which usually means, do we go out to bid?
I can
Bid
get it through
specs?
state, through the state bid.
Oh, through the state bid
Yeah.
process,
Yeah.
okay. And we don't know any price until we look at this, where the state,
Yeah,
okay,
we
so
got-
this is the first step,
This is
he's,
the moving towards, not
okay,
the
moving towards.
total,
Alright.
total approval.
All right, all right.
Thirty-eight
Pick up the
is-
keys
I was just
tomorrow.
wondering, you know,
Yeah.
you highway guys
Yeah.
keep like
We're not-
sliding things in
We're not
there,
writing
so-
the check yet,
Yeah,
but we
okay.
gotta authorize them to move towards it.
Okay, so the motion's to authorize Dave to move toward the purchase of a new plow truck. With us making some final decision once you get some numbers.
Yep.
Okay,
Fair enough.
all in favor, please say aye.
Is there a second?
Was there a
I
second?
second it.
They were, you know, they're right over there between the two of them.
Well, we have the unfortunate luxury of having beat this to death at a meeting for like an hour, right? How to do this and try to do it in a fashion that present it so that it doesn't seem quite as bad as it is. And I haven't come up with that yet.
Okay.
I
So
mean,
anyway,
when
we're
somebody
halfway
tells
through
me
the
that you gotta
vote.
spend 240 grand for a plow truck,
I
I
know,
wanna fall on the floor.
I know. Should I finish the vote? Let's finish the vote. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. No one's opposed. Motion carries 4-0-1. Sharon's gonna go crazy when she finds out we're
I
just.
remember
So
buying,
if
I remember
you-
buying plow trucks for $125,000, it's all set up, ready to plow.
You can't buy a 550 setup for that now.
No, it's crazy.
If you go through the state bid process, will that allow us to take advantage of these, like what Patriot offers?
Yeah.
It will.
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah, because they're on the
So-
bid, they're on the state.
Okay.
they're state
okay,
authorized.
perfect. Cause I I don't wanna,
Patriots a good dealer to deal
Yeah.
with.
Yeah.
There's a
Yeah.
lot
well, that's where
of-
the two came from.
So just one last thing before I go. Committee meeting at some point, maybe before Christmas, just because that last marathon that we had, we didn't cover a bunch of stuff.
Okay,
And I need to talk about this South End sewer thing that's still a problem, and
do you wanna
you
do
guys
it
pick a time. I
this
don't-
week? We got a couple of
I don't
days
think-
left. We got time to warn something, right?
Friday.
Friday,
Friday.
Friday,
That's fine with me.
10 o'clock?
Good with me, yeah.
Yeah, I should be able to, yeah, I can do 10 o'clock.
That allows me to get my morning chores done.
Yeah, allows me to get back from Albany, so I have to go get salt.
All right.
So,
Thanks,
Thank you,
Dave.
guys. Have a good
good,
night.
thank you. All right, so we're ready for the police. Which-
Spend money like it's
Was
free.
after.
You know,
Yeah, Ted's there.
considering how bad things have been, these budgets aren't,
They're not too
they're
bad.
not that bad.
And really, highway only looked bad because there was one less grant
Right,
thing.
but you know, when you
But it's really,
figure,
it's pretty tight. Yeah.
when you figure like how insurance has kicked us in the butt.
Yeah.
For everything and,
Yeah, we're holding our own on that.
yeah,
Where's police? Which police?
What's up with the SRO reimbursement?
We'll get into that.
that a typo?
How far into it do you want to get?
So, you know, this is, we aren't discuss, but if Cortina isn't taking people and they're not gonna pay us anymore, are they?
No, they've already sent us notice that they were not paying at this time anymore. Did we circulate that among the, yeah, I think, I
Did I
thought we
miss it?
sent it among all of them.
Well,
I might miss out.
I might miss my, I don't always get to check my emails.
Yeah, and I don't think they made the December payment, probably sensing what
I
was
mean,
coming.
if they're theoretically closed for 2 months,
Yeah,
they don't have any income. The problem is still there, but not necessarily there.
yeah.
Well, that's the way it goes. Win some, you lose some.
And I think we've
We can't
eased,
spend money we don't get.
that's right. And that's
David?
part of our question. Hi,
Mm.
welcome. I'm going to relate to you what we just said to Highway, which is we really, really need the equipment replacement schedule. So for your cruisers,
We've been working on it.
okay, good. No, we don't need it for tonight, but
Okay.
We've been working on it and we're gonna have a meeting at some point in time in the future with you two to
okay,
It's,
tell you
it's,
what our needs are and what we need to do.
it's hard to get into a rotation of vehicles that works.
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know if we have enough money in our.
No.
in,
Who knows?
to really do it. I mean, when cars were 30,000, yeah, one,
Yeah.
now they're 75.
You're not getting anything better.
Now, I mean, there's just, the price of cars went up that much, so.
Okay, so police budget. And I have Ted's that I ran off, which now is an even higher number, so. So let's talk a little bit. Let's talk about income.
Yes, so that changed drastically yesterday.
Yes.
So in our last police committee meeting, we had discussed the sex offender registry
Yes.
grant.
Yep.
It was gonna be for 10 hours a week, $33,000 was the total.
Which, first off, that's part of the issue with that SRO reimbursement line. It's actually two things that are combined in there, which,
Yes.
depending on how this discussion goes, should probably be broken out separately, so we're not confused in the future, but.
Yeah, the SOR and the SRO.
So if Matt had asked that an email just saying, hey, how concrete is the sex offender registry numbers? I called Jimmy, who was supposed to go to the registry last week, but it was on Thursday during the snowstorm, so we said, yeah, no, you're not going north. So I called Officer Blackus. He tells me that, well, that number's changed now. It's now lowered to $15,000 because the grant that they got wasn't as high as they anticipated. I said, okay, $15,000. So I get an email today from the director of the sex offender registry saying that, yes, the number is 15, but that's for every agency who's participating across the state. So it's not really 15.
You can put down 15.
Where he's like, you can put down 15. I'm like, no, I can't. I
Is it
can't do
worth
that.
Is it worth the paperwork?
So
Exactly.
pretty much at this point, the way it's the first year of this program, they're trying to figure out the kinks. At this point, if we do anything with the registry, we start cases, we have timelines, we can bill them for those hours.
See if we get it.
And I
Enroll.
think that's what it'll end up being, is a case by case basis.
Kind of a reimbursement.
Yeah.
Should we
So
just take it out?
everything, so that full 33,000 and whatever it was, I took that out of the state grant / other income.
So what should this line now be?
59,520.
Okay, and that's
Okay.
solely SRO reimbursement.
So this is, just so you know, it's number 207.
Yes.
Okay, so it's called on one form, it's called on our form SRO reimbursement plus, and I just added grant income. What it is on what we've been working with is state grant / other income. So first of all, what do we call it? So it's accurate. Do we do SRO reimbursement plus grant income?
I think SRO reimbursement needs to be its own line.
Okay.
Right.
And if we
All
could
right.
get additional stuff, we should put them on separate lines.
Okay,
right?
I
'Cause-
think
Because
that's fine.
the SRO reimbursement comes from the school.
Yes,
Right, right.
and we want to be clear on that.
Right.
So the other
And do we
thing,
know what that amount number is?
it's the 59,520 that, I mean, assuming that this gets communicated, what's happened in the past, you'll see there's been a disconnect between what we were budgeting for income from that and what they were budgeting for expense.
So the school's gonna give us 59,000?
They've already been paying us more than we were budgeting for income because their
thought
numbers
they
were more
paid it.
accurate, I
I
guess.
thought they
when-
paid half, we paid half. Or is that half?
No, they've 185 days, I think they pay, so it's
It's a little
2/3,
bit more than half.
a little more than half of the officer's time.
Okay, so you figure the officer's time for a year is how many hours? Two something?
Yeah. 40 hours a week times 52.
It's 2,000.
Or-
And they're taking,
or,
180 days, which is 8, 6, 14 something.
186 days.
Yeah,
186, oh, excuse me, that makes it harder to multiply in my head.
That's
sorry.
not, that doesn't
We
include the
people
weekends. That's
over
just,
on police know how to do numbers. too.
Anyways, Lynette has apportioned the time and billed for it. And basically, she's been billing and they've been paying and budgeting for a larger number than what we had in our budget.
Yeah.
I don't know why that is, but
We'll take it.
well, we gotta get it straightened out and
But,
make sure they're on the same.
you know,
page.
this, I laugh and take it because it still comes out of
The
my pocket.
taxpayer.
one way,
Sometimes
right.
there's discrepancies
well-
because we bill them last quarter
Right.
and, well, the new quarter kicks in, the new year, and then they give us money. So we have extra that year or something. It just,
I mean, the reality is,
Yeah.
when they're paying it, it's probably costing us twice as much
Yeah,
because of how the formula is gonna work. So we don't have to do it that way. We could change it, but this is just a portion based on the time.
And they're good with it.
I mean, they would love to reduce their number.
Yeah, because I thought,
Because
you
it's-
know, I always thought we split the officers' time, half and half. We paid half, they paid half, which,
no, we did
but
it
that
by,
wasn't how Lynn was billing it.
she
Right.
did it by,
you're doing it by the actual days.
actual days, 186 days.
Right.
Right. And we don't bill them for overtime and we don't bill them for
Sick or annual,
sick or annual.
yeah,
It comes-
vacation, school vacations, it's on us.
Right. They can take a vacation time or they can come work with us.
Right.
So, and they don't get billed for that time either.
Right.
So,
Okay.
And the other stuff you're talking about will be if and when it happens.
Correct.
right.
So we won't do any number for the grants.
There's no way of knowing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So.
okay,
it's a pilot program, so maybe as time goes on, they'll get more and they can go after it a little bit harder.
okay.
Unlike the highway grants, there's no like 20% match.
Match,
It's just, that's work he's doing anyways, basically. And so it's a net positive to us no matter whatever the number is.
Okay, so for the proposed budget, we had 1,500 for reports. I don't know if we do, and we do nothing for miscellaneous revenue. And we've got the 59,520. All right, so that's 61,020 for anticipated revenue. Because just keeping in mind that we don't rely on revenue from tickets. That goes into the general fund,
I
because
think,
it would look,
it'd look really good if we put it
Self-serving.
where it goes. That's what I think.
and we don't want it to look self-serving. Okay.
It just gives JP a little more incentive.
We don't want it to look self-serving, but JP's budget is over in the general fund anyway. So
Yeah, I
there
know.
you go. Yeah. Okay. Now, do we have any changes? Or are we all set on the social
My
security? That's-
salary, we misfigured
Okay.
3%, so it went down from 88 something to 86,264.
Yeah, Carrie caught that one.
86,264.
She slap your wrist.
What's that?
She
I
called-
didn't do the 3% figure. Ted did that.
I did that. I don't know how I screwed that up, but I did.
I appreciate
How
the,
much did he screw up his by?
Yeah, really.
I was
didn't.
spot on for mine. but Ed's went up. So I don't know how I did that, but I did.
Social security is different also. That's 34.5.
yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
we got
That's what we got. Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
So it's 86,264 for
Yep.
chief. No outside detail, so that's gonna take a. Yeah,
Deputy chief is correct, 81,288.
Yep.
Yep.
First officer, 68,557.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
SRO is correct. Third officer, 60138.
Yeah, instead of 11709.
60138.
Well, we're off by
Yeah.
14 bucks, 8, 12.
I think that was, oh, and then the childcare contributions last night, we have that one, but I think.
Yeah.
Childcare contribution 1916.
Yep,
Up from that, retirement is 48,000.
wait, municipal,
1916 or 1827.
1916.
This municipal is 48 even.
48 even, and health insurance is 150 even.
48, and those are numbers Carrie gave you
Give
today.
or, give or take a zero, right? Ted?
Give or take a zero.
Yeah.
The health
Zero makes a
insurance.
big difference.
Right.
Wait, you're kidding.
It's funny, some are changed and some are,
Yeah,
but however that printed,
well, it was because the chief is
depended on the mood of
not
the printer.
on the health insurance, so
Right.
that saved us some money.
So now we gotta talk about this $150,000.
Yeah,
And this goes to Joe's point about
The what?
checking our
What,
ballot
Matt?
items. $150,000. So Mary was looking at the, excuse me.
The warning.
The warning that was on for last year. So the way this was done, and this was by, Andrew's suggestion, the way it was set up. We had this last year, this total expense number of 759, and then it was less hotel fund, less income, and then the net total.
Right.
But the number on the ballot was the 759
619 with no deduct of the 100th.
or the
So we
or the
budgeted the
income
whole, we
either.
prepaid the whole, just like we did the highway that one year.
In the same, Mary, so it didn't deduct the income either. It was set the whole 759. So it's.
Yeah.
So I think, Carrie, I guess, correct us if I'm wrong, but it seems like we're collecting that much more in taxes than we anticipated. And what we had planned to do was to use 150 from the hotel fund, which, and I guess we got to talk about this too, but I believe based on what we had carried over and what they paid this fiscal year until they stopped, would be enough if we decided to do that. But I'm thinking we should just hold it in there and take the benefit this year because we didn't intend to tax for that.
That comes to your motion that you made that
Police
that
officer.
no, this, I'm thinking of the one week before the close of the fiscal year.
That's really kind of beside the point now, because whatever the end of the year was, well,
Okay.
that's a discussion with Andrew when we meet on the audit.
Yeah.
Right.
Whatever the balance is, it is, but as of the end of the year. So we had that money coming forward into this year. I want to say it was 60 some thousand. They paid us for a number of months.
Mhm.
So
Why
one of
was
the
it
problems
20 some
in
thousand?
actuality, as we get into this budget is we had anticipated 150,000 from the hotel fund to offset part of the 759
They
budget.
paid us over 100,000 in this fiscal year, I believe, July
But-
through November, and we had 60 something. So we had the money to use the 150 in this budget, but I don't think we should because we're collecting
That's July,
$188,000
September,
more in
October.
taxes than we intended to.
right? We got paid July, August, September, October, November.
Yes.
So we've collected 110,000.
Because the number went up.
It's well, it's
Yeah.
roughly 22, so we've got 110, 115,000. We spent some of that though. And we did have some in the account. And we're not sure exactly what that balance is. It's pretty close, but once you do the audit, you'll have a better
Yep.
number. So I think we let it ride until we get closer to the end of the budget and then you see where we are. Technically, the voters have approved the budget at 759.
Yep.
And the 150 was from the hotel fund. If that we could put into that budget, but if we come up short and you take it out, then we're better off leaving the hotel fund untouched because those are non-taxable funds that are more discretionary than what you did and just budget. We budgeted voted to budget or finance the budget 100% and leave it at that and leave the 150 alone.
But then
And if we don't take it out, it's just gonna be in the hotel fund if it's there. If we may find it's not there because like we're not getting paid now. So anticipated income for this fiscal year, July to June, maybe only the 115 we've collected. And if they no longer take guests down there, we're not going,
but we didn't
we didn't.
plan on any more than that in revenue.
right,
This year.
but actually when we were doing the budget a year ago, we anticipated they were gonna be paying us the 22,000 for the 12-month period, which is 240 plus thousand.
But not really. We assumed it was gonna go an indefinite period of time, but we only planned on spending 150 and we've got more than that.
But that 150, Matt, was to go into this budget. That didn't account for the money for the directed patrols, which is also coming out of those same funds.
150 was the number.
Right.
This year.
For what?
That was it. 150 period. There's no allocating this, that, the other.
Yeah,
We
150.
talked about that, but we got away from it
yeah.
Yeah, and
because it
so-
was,
But in reality, because the way the tax rate was set, we're actually, instead of the one, if you took the 150 out, we're more than offset that in tax revenue because
Well, the tax revenue is
Raise
the full
that.
amount.
that wasn't accounted for and the 38,000 in income wasn't accounted for.
Right,
oh, the SRO, right,
right, yes.
okay.
It's
So-
so it's the difference between, you're talking $188,000, $188,500
Right.
that we have extra in that we have in that budget without spending the
So what
150.
I
or
would
the-
like to do is be able to give the taxpayers the benefit of the break we intended for them to have, or at least part of it, most of it in this budget, because
So-
you want to carry that 150
I
over
want
to
to carry
this?
the 150 over.
Okay,
Basically preserve
have
that
it?
in the hotel
Do we
fund.
have that 150 to carry over?
Yes. We should. I mean, Carrie should weigh in here, but there's no reason why we
Carrie-
shouldn't. I think.
Carrie and I have been talking about this number, and as of yesterday, Carrie sent me that we have 314,629 in that account.
Well, this goes to another point, which
That's what she.
I noticed in
Carrie, if I'm
reviewing.
wrong, tell me.
When I was reviewing Andrew's draft audit, there was some numbers in there that I kind of raised my eyebrows, so we gotta go over that with him. But I think the point is, there should be 150,000.
plus,
There is.
Yeah.
There is.
So we could put the 150 in this budget and show the decrease in this and make sure when we put that number that I'm writing over here to be raised by taxes for all of these, it matches what we anticipated or wanted to do last year.
right,
Okay,
Exactly.
the clerical errors keep biting us.
yes.
Yeah, I mean, if we have the money to put into this budget and drop that number down, so the 94,000 that's written here is not going to be accurate anymore. So we got to take that one out. And then
It's
we can
gotta
put in,
be 30.
so you want to just carry the 150 that we
That's
had,
gonna be, so
That's
where it says 94,320.
that's going to be that 59
That's
number.
going to be
520.
61,020.
61, okay.
Okay, because it
Yep.
picks up the 1,500 for
Yep.
police reports as well as the,
That'll be the number
So-
there. And then you want to carry that 150 we were supposed to use last year
right.
that we aren't going to spend. Yeah, that would make sense.
They
What
put
would
on
be-
under the outside detail or?
And
So the outside detail we're dropping, but we are adding
Officer,
10,000, well, we're adding an
that's
office
some overtime.
and some overtime. So the overtime goes up to 20,000 instead of 10,000.
Also, part of the reason we increase overtime is because the federal rules that require some overtime be paid to Jimmy for taking care of the dog.
Right.
Just, so this year, well, because he had to go to training too, he accrued a lot of overtime, so we're way over budget on that line this year, but the 10,000 just didn't really seem like it would be realistic, but between hiring an officer and increasing the overtime a little bit, we're hoping that we're gonna have good coverage, especially if quarantine is.
right, I mean, that'll take care of the concentrated problem. But you're still going to have that problem sifted out through the town and other places. It's just not going to be all in one spot. So when you guys go out, you or the constables and you do your directed patrols, how do those are above and beyond your normal hours. And when you bill those, are they billed through your budget or are they billed directly to the Cortina fund?
So we just fill out an outside overtime detail sheet, so it's easy to keep track of what's paid out of the Cortina fund and what's just regular overtime.
But so if you go down and work 4 hours you work 18 hours this week at the Cortina or down on the south end, basically you get paid at the overtime rate, right?
get paid at the outside overtime rate.
outside overtime rate, and that money is deducted out of the Cortina fund.
Right.
Right. Where we were getting into the gray stymie area was things like social security and retirements and stuff, because you're entitled to all of those deductions doing that extra work. Okay, because what I was going to make for a suggestion is that we don't try to figure that in and then try to take that out of the Cortina fund. It's just at the end of the year, when the tallies come up, say you're short on social security, you're short here and there, and we just fund those to where they need to be out of that Cortina fund. But it sounds like you may not be doing it. You're still going to need to do some directed patrols, so but it may be less now, but you may end up doing them as this problem spreads through the town. You're going to be doing directed patrols, but you may be at Home Depot more, or you may be somewhere else where this is going to show up. It's going to be a lot harder for you guys. It was actually easier when it was all concentrated on the south end of town. You know where to go.
Exactly.
Now
How
it's
many days
know
will
it's
it
any
be before
easier.
that statement ends up in the paper?
well, I'm just saying, when the problem was all in one place, it's fine, but because these people have been dispersed throughout the town, and the problem is now dispersed throughout the town, your job has just got a lot harder. Way a lot harder.
It's the same, it's just in a different location.
Right, which makes it, but you don't know what that location, theoretically,
We
you
can
knew
look
where
at-
you were
we can look
going.
at the stats and we know that Home Depot's getting hit hard now,
Right,
and right now Dick's is getting hit hard now.
right.
A lot of that has to do with the way the state made the laws with retail theft. They lowered it from $100 to a felony up to almost $1,000 a felony.
Right.
The stores don't want to, the current manager doesn't want to, they're not big on loss prevention. Oh, look at us. They got 20 people here. Those people are stealing $1,000. I'm gonna worry about these people here. Like, and we walk out the door, they call us 20 minutes later. And so,
And the water bottle trends keep changing, so you gotta have the latest
Correct.
one,
Right.
and that's a lot to keep up with.
Anyway, so you guys want to just transfer that 150 from what we had last year and do it for this year?
Yep.
Be fine. It's
So-
there and we
Bill,
budgeted.
do you have numbers? Let me,
You added 150, so I have what I have that I gave you guys before, so what's the difference that we're changing?
well, I went through because we changed police chief salary.
Yep.
We changed third officer salary.
What do we
We
come up?
changed municipal
Security.
retirement.
Social Security.
And social security was changed in
Yeah.
this one that we have in front
And-
of us. So what I have is 754, 155.
Got it.
Okay, and then that's for the total expenses, and then we subtract two things, the 150,000 that we didn't spend.
Yep.
And the income of 61,020, and that gives us 843,135.
You're subtracting.
You gotta subtract it, Mary.
This is why
He
we
says it-
need, isn't that great?
Yeah.
God.
I like that. We take two numbers
know,
away
so
from one and we come up with 8. You gotta show me how to do that when I do my bills.
Yeah, it's like.
I know, I keep trying that too.
69, so the 754, 155
Yeah,
minus the 61,020.
yeah,
Yep,
Is 693, 135,
yep,
and you're taking away another 150
yep.
yep,
on top of that.
Yep.
It's 543, 135.
okay. Yeah, what he said.
Yeah. So we're taking $211,020 from that one. Yeah. Perfect.
So our budget went way down below.
Yeah.
Way higher than.
It looks,
Yeah.
yeah. So the amount to be raised by taxes is going to be that 543,135.
135.
And you'll make note of that, Mary. And then when we do the ballots, we'll double check them to match our numbers for tonight, for
Yes.
those four.
I've
Okay.
also,
Okay.
we had an offer for someone that.
To sell the town?
Huh?
To sell the
No,
town?
actually, you remember Carol Bam, who did the circle for many years. She's offered to come in and be our extra pair of eyes on things like this, putting the town report together and double checking some of these things. So I mentioned it to Bill. I think that'll be,
What do you think, Bill? You need some eyes? You help? You okay?
Well, yeah, so I have a schedule for the town report, so that's.
okay.
Oh, good.
Oh, good. All right.
Please stand by.
Okay.
Okay. So anyway,
I always like it when. a
maybe
budget
we'll
comes in
avoid
lower.
this kind of issue in the future, but
Yeah, but that's all right.
okay.
Well, we got usually 5 of us trying to check each other and then once in a while things slip through the cracks.
So we gotta like put the circles and arrows on the back of this one to make sure we get that right number on the.
Yeah.
But
Put
again,
an
when we
asterisk
look,
to-
we all look at the numbers, we all sit down and read through things on the pre-town meeting and none of us caught it.
That's true.
It's like, okay, there's a number.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Okay, so police budget, is there a motion?
Move to approve as
Okay,
corrected. Whoop.
Matt's moving, you're
I'm
seconding,
seconding. Yep, okay, perfect.
with 754, 155 total expenses with 2 deducts brings us down to 543, 135. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 401.
Good. Now we got
And the police they are not seeking any increase in the depreciation fund this year.
We're lucky there'll still be money in the Cortina fund when we're
Oh,
done with
yeah,
this
I
year.
know, Yeah,
What is, you have what, 4 cars now? Or 5? 5 cars.
Yep.
Okay. Oldest one is approximately
2014, we like to sell it, but we
2014.
can't get the title to
That-
sell it.
Yep,
But it does turn left.
it does.
It does. It does.
you want everything. Okay,
Somebody put something in wrong?
So the leasing company we went through, the title's in their name, then it's registered to the town, but also a subsidiary company of theirs. And because it's 10 years old, they don't want to sign the bill of sale. Yeah, that's the face I have every single day when I wake
Yeah.
up.
Paid for it, but they don't want to sign it.
So we've paid for it and they've given us a release of lien, but the state of Vermont requires that we have a signed bill of sale and the signed title. Which they don't want to sign a bill of sale because in their records, it's 10 years old. They don't have records, so they don't want to sign it. And
It
it's
doesn't make
been-
any sense.
It's
Oh,
been.
God.
Bill
so,
and I-
so, but I could
They
do a
don't own
bill
it.
of
Why do they
sales.
care about?
Yeah,
signing?
exactly.
Exactly.
It's as is, where is. They shouldn't care.
They shouldn't,
They shouldn't.
but the problem is apparently somebody must because here
They,
we are.
they don't own it. They've got their money. And
Yep.
and of course, you can't do anything with it without a title, or
Correct.
without a bill of sale. Right,
This
because
this
the new,
is the second time we've had this problem with this company.
Yes.
The first time, we were able to find someone who was able to get it done.
They
And
just-
She was wonderful.
Pretty much
very
she just signed
helpful. Right, got it signed for us. We went back to the same person and it's just, her resources are not reacting the same and it has been
that is,
exhaustive.
so what did we learn? We're not gonna get another car from them.
Correct.
Right, there you go.
Yes.
So that's your oldest vehicle. You're still using it or
Oh,
just?
yeah.
Yeah, so
That's what I'm driving right now.
Okay, because I'm just trying to
Um,
figure out when you're gonna need to replace that one.
As soon as I can get a title.
Okay, what is your lead time to get a vehicle?
We ordered it
Well,
today, it'd be next fall, right?
It'd be something like that. It'd be
Yeah.
7-8 months.
Okay, well, I mean, we just went through this with Dave in the highway. And we authorized him to begin the process to replace one of the plow trucks, because they're talking 12 to 14 months.
Yep.
Which means we could end up having to get 2 years out of one truck that we need to get, that we want to
Yeah,
trade.
right.
So I don't know if they need the same incentive to be able to start down this road, or at some point between whatever, or do we, how we're gonna pay for it? Cause if they're gonna need 5 cars, and you could probably drive this one longer if you have to, but when they be,
As SRO cars, it's gonna get minimal use, so
yeah,
that's where we're gonna, we could sell the 2016 Charger tomorrow. We have,
title for
we
that
have the
one.
title for that one. And I actually got more miles than the 2014.
Have you talked with town attorney, or should I say that you guys will be calling?
At this point, it might not be the worst idea. Because as early as last week, I got another email from the company saying that they've sent another request to this other division of theirs looking for an update.
You know, they're bordering on consumer fraud right now.
Right. I
Because
mean-
we have paid the debt and they won't release the title.
Do we have a
And so
contract?
do we need to go to the Attorney General's office to get some relief
Like that
here?
better, that's free.
Huh?
Like the,
I know that's.
I don't know
that
if they
is-
will do it for the town though.
I don't know.
I don't know why.
But
They're representing a lot more taxpayers in the town than you are just one individual because
Yeah.
the town's paid for this deal. But did you have some kind of a lease agreement?
we do back when we, years ago, but it's still gonna be here somewhere. We
Okay,
don't just
so
get rid of it.
that lease agreement should spell out the payout buyout terms
Correct.
and their obligations.
Correct.
And if you could find that, and then I think that we should have them, you know, you can tell them this is what it says. If you keep giving you a hard time, then I think, then you get Kevin involved. And
Kevin or I just start saying, come on, people.
yeah, I mean,
That's,
we shouldn't have to, I've never heard
We've
of
got
a,
two lawyers on the select board and they're pissed. Now, you can,
we're all, yeah.
yeah,
to say the least.
and a number of taxpayers that are not too happy.
yeah.
Yeah.
But that's basically fraud. You know, this is the agreement we had, but find that agreement. That would be where I'd say. You really need to have that in your hand.
Have Bill and I had a discussion about having all of the town documents of ownership and all of
So,
that.
I have done that.
Okay,
Yes, there is in the vault, there
Okay.
is, I have a master list of every vehicle, every VIN number, every license plate, all the registrations. Every department has a folder color coding to red and blue and green, yellow. Their list is in there, their titles are in there. We're missing 2 titles. That one, and Chris is looking for one for one of our fire trucks.
what about the lease agreement that was the
That not
basis?
in there.
That wasn't in
That
there.
was not in the folder that was in the, there was
Okay,
a folder that had all the titles and stuff, just one
Yeah.
big folder. I
Yeah.
dissected it, divided it, reconciled it, and we are only missing 2 things, but there's no lease agreements here. This is all certificates of origin and titles.
So I guess somewhere in maybe your archives over there.
Correct. We'll go back and see what we. can
Yeah, because if you can find that lease agreement, that should spell out the terms. It's, you know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that's where
and
we're
then
at with
that'll give you, and then if it looks like they've done something, then we just get Kevin involved, because you need to be able to sell a car that we own.
Correct.
yeah,
Correct.
Yeah, or
And-
do dispose, you know, and that's just not good business.
it's not good
It's not.
business and we're gonna whine and complain to other towns, so
Yeah.
they're not gonna be a welcome vendor in the
Correct.
state.
So,
Um,
All right. Oh, so we've voted on the police budget. We're not seeking,
right.
the only thing, so going down that track that you were on, do we want to wait until this is squared away and look in January to authorizing them to go ahead with
I-
starting to either a lease or a purchase on a cruiser? I'm trying to hold their feet to the fire. You might have noticed this on the replacement schedule for
yes.
the
As we move
vehicles.
into
So
everybody getting more vehicles, we
Right.
need to, and more
Right.
equipment, we need to have.
So I don't
some
wanna
kind of An idea.
let them go ahead with something until I have that in hand. So
How long do you keep a car? What is it, mileage or years?
Well, we've been keeping about 6 years.
6 years.
So
With
that-
5 cars, it's gonna mean you're gonna replace one every year.
Yeah.
If you could get a little longer out of them, if you went,
8.
if you got 10 years out of a car, you could replace one
It's
every
10,
2
one's 8
years, but
now.
that's probably
Yeah.
stretching them.
Yeah, one's at 10, one's at 8.
Yep.
And then after that, it's it's the Ram, which is a 2019.
Yep.
So,
God, seems like he just got
So
that.
Yeah.
that, you know, that's
No.
how I kind of did the fire trucks. I took the number of engines, which we had 4, they have a 24-year lifespan. So if you replace one every 6 years, it worked out. And then the other 4 trucks were replaced. So the fire department set up to replace a truck every 3 years.
Yeah.
You guys
We can
can
do that.
figure out, huh?
figure out something.
Yeah, yeah, you
So
come
We
up
could
with
probably go
that.
8 years, as long as there's no accidents or anything.
So you have how much money?
If you did 10 years, you could do every 2, but
1,000 in depreciation. I
Yeah, and how much every year?
as you expand into more vehicles,
20 a year.
was gonna say it's about 8.
So it's like
8 grand every quarter.
So if you go, so the next cruiser you buy, what would it be? Another Tahoe or so? You have another 70 grand.
Yeah.
Correct.
So we don't have enough.
It won't be 7,
So we can do
Plus-
we do lease to own.
10% increase.
Is what other than his Tahoe, everything we've done has been lease to own,
Yeah.
which has been the
3 years.
easiest way for us
3
to
payments.
take care of that.
And then and then we talked about this. So like the first one you make out of depreciation and then.
Correct.
Did-
That's my question was, the first one comes out of depreciation and the next 2 come out of regular budget.
We could talk about it next year. We
Mhm.
Theoretically, they
All
should,
you need now is
Replacement.
authorization to go ahead. to shop.
when we
It
expand,
was the lease payment though, did go into the budget.
yeah.
I do remember
So,
that.
so because if you are expanding your fleet to add a vehicle, that should go either by vote or through your budget.
Yep.
If you were replacing existing car, that should come out of your depreciation account. So we did buy one through the Cortina monies.
Yes.
That's one you got?
Yes.
So we did get that one and that got us, that helps us get into the rotation. But once you figure out your rotation, because right now 5 cars, if you could do replace one every 2 years would be good. Or you could look at one every 18 months, figure out how they work, because again, they get a lot of runtime. Maybe not always all miles, a lot of runtime.
Just,
Yeah.
yes, aisle and.
Yeah, they're running when you're working, whatever you're doing. Yeah, so once you come up with that, but I think once you figure out this lease thing, then you should be looking to that oldest car should be hitting a happy trail.
Yep.
Any of the equipment would be reusable, or is it all going?
To
The 14s,
The
that's all.
that's
Go-
all gonna go
Go
turnkey
with the
to
car.
It's pretty,
hopefully another department.
I mean, that's pretty much all 14 vintage equipment. on road.
Correct.
But that's, yeah, within the vehicle itself, and realistically, where does that? Where do you sell that? Somebody who just wants to drive one that looks like a.
If we
Sheriff's
sh-
Department.
yeah,
Constable
if we sh-
or a sheriff's department. or-
Sheriff's
stripped
Department's
it,
pretty
yeah.
good at buying those up.
Yeah, if we stripped it, we can sell it to anybody, but with everything turnkey, you're talking another small department, sheriff's department, constables.
So, I mean, realistically, what would you get for that?
10, 12 would be the opening bid, I would say.
So I guess to be consistent with the highway department, right, we need a motion to authorize them to shop.
Shop, but no numbers yet. You need to bring us the numbers and you don't get
Most
You
of
don't
them-
get
Replacement fund.
final authorization until we see the replacement
Yeah.
schedule.
Yeah, and we have a
Correct.
title.
We have a title.
Oh,
We
yeah,
have
the
a title.
too, right, right.
Um,
Okay, let us know if you need help, if we
a
need to
title.
push that.
You want us to
Kevin.
get a hold of town attorney and say, hey, can you help us out with this?
If you haven't, whatever buttons you push next with the company to get the damn thing, because we're about ready to send it to town council.
Yep.
And then if they don't respond, we'll go to Kevin.
Okay.
Okay.
That's what I say, find that lease agreement and then hopefully you can find that.
Yep.
And then that'll give you your legs to stand on. Purchasing your vehicles similar to the highway and through the state bid,
Yes.
right? So you can go through that same process.
Yep.
And
So
Or lease.
I move that we authorize them to shop.
second,
Okay. Motion's been made and seconded to authorize them to shop. Okay.
So I think that might already 3/4 be done because we're done looking for numbers, that's all. I
Okay.
knew at some point that we had to. give
I
you
know, we
numbers.
did.
So,
So let's do the motion. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries 401. All right, anything else? All right, I
Thank you.
think we're good. Thanks
Thanks,
very
guys.
much. All of these, a lot of work went into them, so we're grateful.
thank you very much.
Okay.
Can we knock this out in an hour? or What?
For the general budget, well, we've got a couple of folks. We've got Barbara for the planning commission. We've got Marcia for the listers. Carries on for the town clerk's office.
we got
Um,
Larry.
Oh, I'm sorry, Larry's live and in person, so we probably should start with
And
Larry.
he's simple.
Well,
Not
his
Larry, but his
budget.
budget is simple.
Mhm.
All right.
Take that personally.
so let's take a look at the general budget. And
Transfer station.
do we have
starts at
any revenues? Yes, we do.
188.
Transfer station.
I'm just looking to 188. Okay, so.
All right.
So I happen to have the standalone copy here, which it looks like all the numbers get carried over. So,
Which
so Larry's presenting a decrease of $500
well,
approximately.
So this page we got on our desk, these are the accurate ones.
Their general budget sheet you haven't, they left on your desk has
there's
there are no changes to that, to his.
there are no dates on it either.
We haven't met on it yet. It is a
Doesn't matter.
This is
Stateless
not
budget.
exact.
And then when you put the
what,
date,
December 10th.
once we approve them.
No, because there's so many drafts. I wanted the draft.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So we're gonna,
So which parts? Let's start with revenue for a transfer station.
Revenue for the transfer station last year was $58,434.10.
Okay,
Where
so
do you
and
show
that's
that on your map?
divided between about a third of the way down.
Oh,
There's the
okay.
coupons and the miscellaneous and the recyclables. So those three are yours. And how do we, what's your proposal for each of those three items? The coupons?
Okay. Let's see. The coupons were $46,598.
Okay, that's what they were. What are you proposing?
did you fill a number in there or you want?
What do you think they're gonna be?
I'm going to be doing basically the same thing,
Okay.
the
so
same, yes.
46,598.
Or just put 46 even?
You want to put the 43,000 that was budgeted last year?
Right, 46,000.
Okay, what number do you want, are you projecting for income for the coupons?
Well, all going up in price, I'm basically the same thing of 58,000
For the
for the, yes.
for the three items? I'm trying
For
to
the
break
three
them,
items, yes.
I'm trying to break them down. So we
Okay.
can- Yeah,
The transfer station miscellaneous,
yeah,
that is the C and D.
okay. And what's your projected revenue for that?
That's gonna be the same. My prices aren't going up on that stuff.
So the same as what it was last year,
Exactly.
10,739.
So are we putting the coupons then? Did we put in 43?
And the third one's recyclables, and I can't tell you anything about those.
Just put $1,000 in for income.
I only did 117 last year.
Whoa, okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I mean, there. Might as well shoot a crap game with that thing.
Yeah.
We gotta, you know,
We got to put a number in. What do you want us to use?
$500.
500.
That was the number I just had in my head, yeah.
Sold. Okay, and back up
Sold.
under transfer station coupons, what's the number?
46,598.
Okay,
That's what you actually sold in the previous
so
year.
you think you're gonna,
So I'm not going up in price, so I'm basically gonna say it's about the same.
I'm just wondering if we ought to go with more even numbers without all the little change at the end like we usually do for income, but doesn't matter.
your call. So the three of those together is 57,000.
58,000.
Well, we changed
I
one.
just changed one. We changed one.
We changed one from
Okay.
13 to 5.
Well, I think we may have an issue on the miscellaneous because the budget number last year was 10,739. That's what we just wrote down, but the actual was 11,719. So which one do you want to use?
Let's do the 11. Actually,
719.
You're better off going with an
12.
even number without the
12.
change. And I had always leaned toward the lesser side, same as we do with the 1% money. I lean toward the lesser side, not the higher side.
Okay, 11,000 even.
Yeah.
Okay,
If you want to do 11 even, I would go with that.
so we've got 11 even
And I'd go
for
with,
miscellaneous.
yeah, and
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'd go with like 46 for the top one, for the
Go
coupon.
46,000.
46,000.
And then when it comes in higher, It always looks better. When it comes in lower, you start saying, okay, I screwed up. Now where am I going to get this extra $2? It's always better to have more income and then we can just offset.
Okay, so what we have for transfer station is 57,500 in income. Projected. Okay, now where are the transfer station
They,
expenses?
they start at 35,188.
Okay, that's 2/3 of the way down on the second page.
Yeah.
Yeah.
0035188.
Yep.
That would be the attendant
Yep,
for $10,710.
okay, And
Okay,
that's-
startup
that's
cash,
with-
we don't need that.
that's with the, just checking, that's with the 3% increase
That's
per
with the
hour.
3%, yes.
Okay.
Transfer station
You-
utility.
wait, you spent more than that last year,
No, I didn't.
11,801.
11,801. And we budgeted
No, I
10.
budgeted it.
We budgeted the actual
This
for
was your budget,
23,
that's what you
24
spent.
was 11,800. This year we gave you 10,200. That's that's what we budgeted. You're currently operating on a 10,200. And so if you take 3%, that would get you to that 10,700.
7, yeah.
Yes. That, and is that enough because you spent a little more the year before?
There's some
Is that for
hours
both?
built in there, yes.
Is that for both of you?
Yes.
No,
No?
no, that's just the attendant. There's a,
No, the
that's just
Where's-
Steve. There's another line down the page for manager.
Oh, yeah, we separated that out.
We separated it.
035,198.
Oh,
Okay, that's
next
on the next
page.
page.
Okay,
Okay,
gotcha.
perfect. All right. All right, that's good.
Okay,
I like that. Just want to make sure you guys don't shortchange yourself trying to be too frugal.
yeah. So you've got 10,710 for your assistant and you've got, and that's less than what you actually spent, but on the
Okay.
manager part, you've got 18,284.
18,284. yeah.
That's more than what the actual was last year,
But it's less than we budgeted this year.
right?
So if you're
Right.
doing a 3% increase, how do you go down? You do math like Mary.
I feel like we had the same, I feel like we had the
It
same
works.
conversation last year too.
Yeah, we probably did.
Okay, you're looking at,
We're looking at history.
25 budget of $19,181.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, that one was way too high. When we did it last year. And. how can I
You
put
didn't
it?
win that argument. I can remember this quite clearly.
Mhm.
We made a mistake there. It was
Okay.
higher than it was supposed to be. How's
I
that?
see.
They wanted to make sure I got my right pay.
Yep.
Remember that?
Yep.
Mhm.
Okay, so.
So so on your desk, you also have a salary rate page. So that's based upon a per hour rate projected out for the year.
Yeah. So the 18,284 is a,
39?
This is the current year. No,
Transfer station.
Okay, that's last, yeah.
that's
okay, yeah,
where we are right
okay.
now. Yeah,
So this is next year, right?
yes, right.
Okay. All right. What number do you want us to use?
We're at my salary, right?
Yeah,
yep,
Okay, that is gonna be $18,284.
okay.
okay.
And that's gonna cut, that gives you a 3% increase in
That gives me
salary.
my 3%.
Okay. And then back to your transfer station attendant. That number's okay, 10,710.
That's correct.
All
And that
right,
gives him his 3%.
okay.
Utilities are up to that.
All right, utilities are the same.
Yes,
Engineering, that's the
Yeah, engineering,
That's-
that
that's
is, I
beyond
have
him.
no idea what's going on with that. And I just put the $8,000 in there because I don't know what you need for permits and stuff like that.
Part of that's a monitoring.
the well
of-
monitoring
That's
inspection.
well
Yeah.
monitored. I don't know nothing about
No,
that.
that's right. Yeah, so it really isn't his expense. It's just.
It's a
in
town
there, so,
expense and
yeah.
it's in, it
Sort
was
of
always
is.
part of the
Yeah,
transfer
so
station budget.
I just left it at 8,000 because I don't know what's
Yep.
going
Well,
on.
we moved from twice a year monitoring to once a year, but then
Yeah.
we had to do a little more work.
Yeah, but then
is
they
it-
stick
is the
another one in.
APL
Eight is correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
we're good.
That's all good.
And transfer station miscellaneous,
Or 1,000.
okay. Hazardous waste removal. all right.
Hazardous waste, okay. I talked to Pam Clapp on that. She told me I was 6,000. She's there for next year, go up 10%. And then after starting in 26, the state's supposed to start kicking in money.
Oh, good, okay,
Cool.
well, we'll see,
We'll see.
We'll see.
The laws are all passed and everything.
yeah,
So it's
Well,
not
that
so much
means
the
their
state's
state
gonna,
income tax
the
is also-
manufacturers of
For
these
this bill
goods
and
are
Okay.
supposed to start.
pay it
Oh,
to the
okay.
town, I'll just pay it.
But something
so
does.
6,600 for hazmat,
6,600, yes.
food scraps,
Food scraps. They keep adding fees to me, environmental fees and stuff like that. And
I think they take the food scraps, they're composting it somewhere, I would assume.
they are, but I have to pay for environmental fees and stuff.
Uh-huh.
Casellas took
Two
that
different
over, right?
charges
Yeah.
On my
Bought
bills.
out.
Okay. 2,700 is going to be enough,
Yes, ma'am.
okay, and waste
Waste
removal,
removal, that is your compactor, all the trash and your C and D together.
okay,
So I put in for 48 last year and the price. When I talking to the Hubbards, they told me they didn't foresee that going up this year.
okay. Well, our actual expenditure was
Of
37.
$132,884.
Where are you?
He's got his own total.
Yeah.
His numbers.
You got your own total?
No, you have your own total.
You have one?
No,
No.
you do.
Okay,
We don't
I do,
care
yeah.
about your totals because they don't
because,
come out separate.
yeah, yeah, we
Yeah.
don't do, so let's go to the top of the page, 500 for maintenance, it's line 197,
Okay,
5,000,
5,000, yes.
okay,
We still got to come up with a bathroom up there.
I've been talking with Castle Rings about that.
Yeah.
When I see him every once in a while.
I mean, the ideal thing up there is to do what you said. Figure a place, put in a 2,000-gallon septic tank and have it pumped
actually,
periodically.
Yeah.
Put a bathroom in.
Yeah.
That's the easiest way.
Patrick was thinking there might
Do
be
I
a
have to dig
simple
up the
permit
parking
for that
lot?
or something.
Yep. What's that?
Do I have to dig up the parking lot?
Maybe a little bit.
Somewhere you're gonna have to put a tank in, yeah.
it'll be okay, Dave will pave it for you.
No,
only
it's not
thing-
that. It was just paid 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Well, it'll be a patch job someplace. The only thing we gotta always keep in mind up there that there's 2 20-inch mains running right through the
Yeah.
middle of that parking lot.
You know right where they are.
Pretty much. They dug right between them.
So do
Yes.
we try and do anything this year or for this budget year for
Yeah,
the,
that's gonna be a capital improvement.
would be,
Right. And it'll be basically a tank. You're gonna have to, you might lose your nice little
Storage closet.
storage closet there. Or we'll have to figure out someplace to put a bathroom in.
right,
But that facility should have a bathroom. I don't know how it was ever built without one.
well, it had
And-
the composting toilet for a while.
You needed a step ladder to get on it. I don't think everybody in it used it. And you know what the excuse was? They said that they couldn't put a system in up there because it perked too good.
Yes,
And
yeah,
I have
yeah,
you've heard this?
yeah.
Oh,
So they could have just dragged in some dirt and thrown it in a hole and it would have perked less.
yeah.
It's so sandy
The
up there
sand's too
that a
good.
leach field wouldn't work properly.
Never heard of it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Too
that
good.
was the
Yeah.
excuse.
I've heard of it.
I
Sand's
have.
too good.
Yep, sand's too good.
Yeah.
So if you have that, we do need periodic pumping. Do you want to add anything for that, or do you think miscellaneous?
I don't
covers
think we're
it?
going to get it done.
That won't be a this budget thing, but by the time that rolls around,
Okay,
And
Alright.
for what it is, we'll figure some way to get it paid for.
pumping it's only $300.
$310 per pump.
It'd be a little bit
And
more than that.
I know this, and you know why I know this. Okay. Okay.
Joe, you're saying putting a 2,000 gallon tank
A
in?
1,000 or two. If you go with a bigger tank, they come less frequently, so the travel charge is going to be less. The pumping fee will be probably, you know what I'm saying? They charge
Yeah.
you to come every time,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
we'll determine size to be determined.
1,000.
Yeah, and then go for that, because a 1,000 gallon tank will, if you have it, they will use it and it will fill up a lot faster than you think.
All right, recycling, 10,000. That's down from what we budgeted, but up-
Recycling, yeah, 10,000.
okay.
Yeah,
And,
Mary, that's a crapshoot.
oh, haha,
Just the
no
way
pun
it is.
intended after our last conversation. but
Yeah,
okay,
you don't know.
I know. And SWAC, we must know what their fees are. That's,
Swag, yeah, she gave me that number.
That's for us
Okay.
to join, to be members of this.
That's by population.
Yeah, and
Yep.
what do we get for our money?
You get her.
yeah.
We get to be part of, we get
He
to be
helps
part
me
of,
out quite a
we
bit.
get to be part of this SWAC group,
Yeah, she helps me out quite a bit. So
which I think helps with things like the
she's fighting.
hazardous waste collect. It's all part of, if you
Yes.
do it through the
She's
SWAC group, you
been
get
fighting
better
like
rates.
crazy on this household hazardous waste and stuff. So
Yeah. Well, I just, not everybody out there knows why we belong and what we get for what
well,
we're
you can
paying.
belong to SWAC or you can belong to Rutland County Solid Waste. It's gonna
Uh-huh.
cost you a
And
whole
we
lot
ran
more
those
to go to
numbers one
Rutland
year.
We
County
did
Solid
that,
Waste.
We
yeah,
did.
right. And people need to know why we have a $20,000 expense in your budget and what we get for it.
This is why.
All right.
Okay, I have total expense of 122, 174. Hmm?
You're missing 10 grand somewhere.
See, this is Mary's magic. Oh, it's the transfer station attendant.
It's
I just
Finer
cut
detail.
your, I just took away your helper. Don't tell him I did that.
These kind of services to the town are, if you break even at best,
Yeah,
or it doesn't
yeah.
cost the town too much, you're doing great.
well,
This is something that we provide as a group.
something that was brought up to me earlier in the year by Mary was, this is a service
Yeah,
for the people.
that's right.
And I've been checking with other transfer stations. We're right in line on the pricing,
Yeah.
except for Castleton.
Yeah.
Okay,
Are they higher?
they're higher, yeah,
Yeah.
but everybody else, Fairhaven,
How many of them belong to SWAC that you?
there's
check?
10 of us.
10 of you?
Okay, let me try this. Total expenses are 132,884. And then I subtract the income of 57,500. And it
Mary, I
gives
got
me,
$74,454.90.
This changed a
we
little bit.
we rounded it just a
Yeah.
tad. Okay, this is where this calculator doesn't,
Use your phone. Work.
that's worse. By
Really?
the time I figured out the whole
Oh.
thing.
Phones work way better than them old stupid things. Then I go back to this one here, and, well, why don't you work like my phone?
Okay,
Half the time, my phone doesn't pick up my fingertip.
all right. So,
And Apple just changed the whole setup too.
Yeah, they changed the whole calculator thing.
You come up with
It's kind of nice
75,
because you can see all the
384.
numbers you put in.
75,384.
Yeah.
Let's try it another way.
That's what I came up with, just
74
subtracting
plus-
So
it.
75 be raised by
75.
taxes.
Roughly.
Bless me.
And since, it's, I don't know if we'll break down every budget this finitely,
No.
but we like doing yours.
132,800. Okay, yeah. So it's a net of 75,384.
Yep.
Okay,
Perfect.
so do we do motions on,
I think we do,
partials?
I
Do you
think we
wanna
do
do
the
it?
whole general ed,
The whole general.
general as a group.
all right,
We just go over the numbers with each individual group member.
okay, I guess we're good.
Good
Thank
with
you
that.
very much.
You're welcome.
Yes.
Thanks, Larry.
Okay, so
Barbara would be easiest.
Yeah, but let's do Barbara. Do we have any income from? We have a planning grants line, but there's nothing in it.
Planning
So-
commission, that starts
Hi,
here.
Barbara.
Where do they
Hello. Do we have any income anticipated? I know we've applied for a grant, but we don't know if we got it. So using the
Yeah.
highway method, we ignore money that we've applied for that we may not get.
And it's all reimbursable. You only get what you spent.
Right. Okay. All right, so that's a 0 under planning grant. All right, so where are your expenses?
5261. They are
Yes, third
the
page.
after transfer
Here
station.
we are. Planning Commission legal.
We went up, we're asking for 1,000 more there because we're spending almost 3,000 more this fiscal year on legal advice. A lot of things got backed up with Kevin, but just to get
Yes.
a little wiggle room, we'd like to go from 2,000 to 3,000.
Okay. And at least a big thing is the subdivision redo, which is a
Yeah.
major.
We might have to go back to him on that one, yeah.
The regional commission, I understand, is basically a per capita.
Those are our dues. Yep.
Yep, okay, so the 4,000 is kind of set.
Yep.
Planning commission salary. And we just added, looks like we took last year's and we added 3% to it, but we're running less than that. Are you taking any money, Barbara, these days?
No, never have.
I
A-
know.
A few of the members do. I don't know if they're behind on their timesheets, Bill, or it seems,
They don't go through me, so I'm not sure.
yeah, it's kind of low. For
It's
what-
there's a per meeting rate, and it's just up to them to put in their timesheet for
Okay.
it. So
All right.
Could, when we do some of these numbers like this, can we round them off?
Joey wants to round the number off. Are you okay with that?
Mhm.
You know, like 45, 50.
4,500,
4550 would be the way I would do it.
4,550. Okay.
As
very
long,
good.
as long as you round up, yeah.
Well, it's just that little, they're like stragglers out there, like, what the hell, this, even
Yeah.
4540 would have been better.
Um,
That odd number at the end, and
send you the numbers, and you can do with them what you like.
yeah,
So
I know, it's just,
So planning commission miscellaneous, I'm thinking that might be something like,
retirement party,
yeah.
Yeah.
Like a what?
a retirement party.
Retirement party, for example.
Right.
yeah,
It's
Mhm.
very nice, by the way.
Exactly.
So is
things
there
that you
much
don't
cost?
plan for. That's what
Okay,
miscellaneous
so
is.
500 is,
Did you get a cake?
planning commission advertising, that's when we have an ordinance ready to roll out and you put ads out there for it. Anything else?
Yeah, well, any public hearing, we have to pay. for.
Okay.
Yeah, any hearing and stuff. Yeah.
Okay. All right, 2,000 it is. Consulting fees for the planning commission. Do you hire someone from time to time to consult with?
I guess we have, we just keep that 500 in there in case we do. We
Okay.
don't, yeah, we don't normally from year to year, but it's, I guess it's nice to have.
Okay,
We when before we had the remote meeting options, people come and they would charge us for their time to come to the meetings, but with remote meetings, it's not as
yeah,
prevalent
Yeah,
anymore. So that does help us.
That's true.
okay.
That's it.
So I have the planning commission in at 14,550.
Hmm.
That's not that much better than like
Yes,
540.
just everybody say yes. And-
That
Okay,
seems a little high.
well,
No, that's right.
we rounded
well,
one number up a little
Yeah,
bit.
but
that
it's
includes-
$9 more than what you had.
It includes the dues for the regional planning commission. So
Oh,
don't-
okay. Okay,
That's- So it's really 10,550, but it's just part of
Yeah.
that line. That's where it ended up in the row.
Okay, any questions on planning commission?
They got everything they need and
Yeah.
ready to go.
All right. I think that's it, unless you want to, anything else?
no, I'll just let you,
Okay.
let you keep plodding ahead.
All righty. Thanks very much, Barbara. We appreciate it.
Thank you, folks.
Yep, thank you.
Okay. Marcia. Okay.
Yeah,
Good evening.
everyone. I gave Bill my numbers as to, the few areas that we have.
They're scattered all through here.
Oh, they're all over the place.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So,
I'd move, we try to get them all together, like we did with
Well,
everybody else.
It's numerical order, so that's
I understand.
yeah. So I not objecting, just
No, I know.
that is the genesis of that. So
do we have any income that we, of course, the big income, of course.
Well, yeah,
Uh,
you got income all
was-
right.
Yeah, I know. But
They
that-
had
that
a-
we-
there was a Lister education line, but
Yeah.
I haven't seen anything in that. I'm not sure why we would get
No,
income from
There,
Lister
there
education,
really
but
hasn't. Everything that we've taken over the last couple of years since our new listers came aboard is absolutely offered through PV&R and through the Department of Taxes. So there hasn't been
Okay.
any money that we've had to pay out for lister education.
I was on the income side. Was there a grant for that at some point?
No. There's only a grant if you take the IAAO courses, which at this point, none of us are going to be taking.
Yeah, I mean, but Bill's point is there's a line on the income side of the budget for it,
For which?
for lister
Lister
education.
education.
Yeah, I did see that.
Has been used.
it hasn't been used for a while.
All right.
Yeah.
Is it 3 years before you can access?
Yes.
And reappraisal maintenance, do we still get money?
Oh yeah, we get the money that comes from the state. that
That's
goes
reappraisal
into-
miscellaneous.
Yeah.
that
That goes
what you
into,
mean?
well,
No,
the one that goes
reappraisal
into
maintenance
the money
is what it
market.
says.
The income.
It's
Oh, I'm
18,500.
sorry, up there. I'll look down below. Sorry.
Is that a number we know in advance?
No, we don't. No.
We-
That's
thought we
coming
got-
out in December at some point. We will get that number. Jerry will get that number that will get deposited into the money market for the reappraisal.
Right, and every
Yeah,
year it's
that's-
around 18 grand.
Yeah,
18,500.
just about, yeah.
18.
Just
So
about.
which number do we use this year? 18,500?
That's what we put
I-
down for last year.
Yeah, I'd go with the 18.5.
Okay.
So, the other thing is under, and I wasn't sure, and Bill and I talked about this for reappraisal expenses. We're going to have to get a Marshall and Swift license. We've never had to get this before because it's been offered to us through John Vickery from Burlington and through Gail Gantic at G&K, but we will no longer be able to get this Marshall and Swift, which is now CoreLogic, to use for our depreciation and our cost factors.
Okay. So
That
now we're on
license is-
expenses.
I think it's around $650.
All right, let's
we
let's
jumped way
go
away.
through.
There's-
Bill's got each of the,
Yeah,
There's,
is it a,
well, there's a
Income question?
it's an income question,
Okay,
yeah. The
income.
reappraisal miscellaneous,
yeah,
Nothing?
That's been zero for a while.
yeah.
okay.
And the
okay.
current use is the other one. I don't know if that's
current use, we don't,
full.
there's really nothing that we
Yeah, we do
Right.
for
Well,
that.
we pay out for
They-
current
They send-
use.
It's 10 grand is what we've been
Yeah.
putting in, and that's roughly what the state sends that, right? That comes through the state. The
Yeah,
10,000
correct,
comes from the state right
Yeah,
now.
it's the
So should we-
difference between what the current use exemptions are based on, you know, the 32 accounts that we have in current use.
So should we put the 10,000 anticipated income from the state?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah,
Okay.
Yes, it seems pretty consistent.
Yeah.
right. Yeah, our current use is actually based on state standards. Our current use is very small. I mean, we've got other towns in in Vermont that have 150, 200, 300 current use accounts, and we've only
It's
got
interesting because
32.
we are one. town. I know we are.
We are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The pilot program, payment in lieu of
Payment
taxes.
in lieu of taxes, yeah, that's for the churches, the schools, that's the money that comes in from the state.
Okay,
we get,
and we
and-
had, is 18,000 about right?
It is, yeah,
Yeah.
it's,
We've been getting 10 or
we haven't,
12.
yeah, we haven't added anymore, nor have we lost anymore.
So is 18,000 too high? Because we only got
I'd
12,000.
go with the 12. What do you,
12,000?
what are you thinking? Well, if we over,
That's fine.
yeah.
I mean, I'd rather underestimate income.
Yeah,
than over-
right, yeah,
The numbers should
agree.
go up when taxes go up, right?
right, yep.
theory.
So I don't
Right.
know where that, I mean, for some reason, we jumped up to 18. I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't know why we
I
went
don't
up so much
either,
last year. I think we ought to go with 12 there.
Okay.
Just
Okay,
a bit conservative, I guess.
All right. So, we ready for expenses?
I think that's everything on that.
Bill, what's our first expense?
We jump right to the way to the end. 5501 Nemrick. That is accurate. The 11,000 for them.
5501 Nemrick, last page halfway down.
Yep.
11,000, that's good?
Yep.
Okay.
Property maps, that's our update. So we got through the setup, the initial cost, and now we're on to just the maintenance. So that's the
Right.
3,500.
Okay.
We have, and then down under appraisal update, a few more lines down, 5630. That was Gail's contract,
Right.
is no longer Gail's contract. That is the cost of what they will need to acquire some of the resources to do it in-house.
Is that the Marshall and Swift?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
part of
So
it
that's the
is,
650.
yeah,
We stuck that there.
yeah.
Reappraisal expenses, I didn't have anything. I didn't have anything for that.
No, we don't have
Any money.
anything right now
Yeah.
because we still haven't been ordered, but we are still
Yeah.
working on the proposal to send to the state for our reappraisal. I just
Yeah.
can't believe that we still have not gotten an order to reappraise. It's just mind-boggling to me.
So we have money set aside for reappraisal, but what is this? Is this the actual, yes, we will reappraise and it's gonna cost us $400,000?
Well, no, I think last figure that Carrie gave me, I think we were in the money market for reappraisal was somewhere around 237,000, which when
Okay.
I spoke with Christy Wright said, just about right for the number of parcels that we have in Rutland Town, that it would
Okay.
cover reappraisal.
So what's the $17,000 number that was
Well,
expended in
that's
23?
what we spent. And that was Gail's services.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
We'd
for
spent,
this budget, are we just zeroing it out?
That was
Putting
the
that cost elsewhere?
that was the money that got pulled out of the reappraisal account for Gales.
Right.
Right. Because we only
Right.
budgeted 13.
Okay.
And that was the extra 17 to cover her 30 grand.
Okay,
Right,
so now that's a zero, right? Okay,
correct.
all right.
We used some money we shouldn't have. Well, we did. Anyway.
Let's not revisit.
Yeah,
We're
let's
gonna do
not,
that.
please.
What's next?
Any others?
Just their education line, we just left it same as
Okay,
500
500?
Yeah.
for their
we-
classes if they need
Like
them.
I said, we've, everything that PVNR has been offering to listers has been paid by, state of Vermont or the Vermont Department of Taxes. So,
And then the balance, there are their like Microsoft licenses,
Right.
Marsh's remote access, and the Apex software they use is all part of a software line. It's
Okay.
just
Correct.
it's not
Yeah.
broken down, but it's part of a bigger line.
yeah. That Apex for the upcoming year for the 3 licenses will be $780. It's $260 per license for the maintenance.
Is that
It's
web
good-
service
It's
software?
gonna yeah, I have it included in that number.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's why,
That's
so
our
it includes,
That's our sketching program.
okay,
Is that just for, that's for everybody though, right?
That's
Yeah,
I
service.
Yeah.
have a breakdown of that. What's
Okay,
included in
but
that.
that's for
That
everybody.
there's as part of that. Yeah.
okay, that's the 14,000.
Yes.
Right.
Okay,
That's everybody.
Right.
The Lister line, Mary, 35,115, their salaries.
35,
We skipped
okay,
over that.
yeah, where is it? 35,
Page 2,
Page
second
two,
one
right
down.
at the top.
okay,
And this reflects the 89,592, which is the
52.
3%. But I think we're gonna have to budget some additional funds in there, maybe to offset the 30,000 that we were paying Gail, because our listers are gonna pick up part of that.
Part of it, we're
Expense.
picking up all of it.
Okay,
Joe.
yeah, right. I mean, I meant the,
So,
the work, but I mean,
on
the
your
cost.
you had the salary rates on the desk, and that has the current rates through June of next year.
Right.
For each of them.
okay,
With the 89.
Right, so the rate per hour per employee won't change, but the total number hours will.
Yes,
Which
that's
means
correct.
we need to, we're gonna need to up this number to cover the additional hours. They're
well,
going-
we're talking two different things, because what we're looking at is next year's budget, so we would be doing the
Right.
3% increase.
Right,
right, okay.
right, that's the 3, but I'm also talking the additional work.
Yes, but so it's a twofold thing. One is 3% on top of it, and
And then we
then
need to
and
put some
amounts to
additional,
cover the
right,
Gigantic piece, which
right. I
the
mean, so
listers
if
are taking.
we took half of what we paid Gail and added to this line, would give us some place to go.
So
Be-
we're at,
We're
oh,
gonna add about 15 to that, which would give us
Well, I mean,
about an even,
seems like the way to approach this would be how many hours is it gonna take?
A lot.
and that's anybody's guess, Matt. If this lady did it for 30 grand,
Oh, Marcia, do you have a guess?
you have a guess?
Well, I printed out a couple of our big accounts to see what actually, how many pages of furniture, computers, everything. Petco has 7 pages of equipment, furniture, computers, everything. And for us to go through all of those 7 pages to make sure that nothing's been deleted or added, it's going to take a lot of time, Matt. You
Right.
got Harbor
So this
Freight,
is why,
you've got Hannaford's, we've got some huge accounts that we're going to have to go through page by page by page. Right now,
Should we
so my
just,
point, yeah, but
should we just leave the number in there as it is and we'll just find out after this year where?
Well, we're gonna have to put it in a
The whole
different
thing may
place.
Change again if we move to assessor anyways, there'll be a whole different ballgame, so.
what the
yeah,
thing is if it's what I mentioned last year, and I think the problem with Gail's contract is there was no hourly breakdown.
Mhm.
If we had an hourly breakdown, it would be much easier for us to say, okay, this is a number of hours our 3 listers are going to expend, and we can come up with a number. If you want to add 30 grand to that 89.5, you can. We may or may not spend it. It doesn't change the overall budget.
As long as,
Correct.
right, that's my point.
Right.
As long as, which isn't a problem unless that number is too low, because it takes,
And we won't know until these ladies actually
No,
get
and,
into it.
and you're right, Joey. We won't know. We won't know. I mean, I did 85 accounts myself this year. And Gail did the, the rest of them, which were the big accounts, the GEs, all of those.
Right.
But,
Quiet over there.
I got a plan.
Okay.
You toss 10 grand in there, and whatever we spend, it's gonna come out in the wash in the end. We'll know where we're at for next year.
I was actually tossing more like
I
17,000.
was gonna go 15, half.
I don't know.
15.
So the,
15?
the other part is they are the last group.
Yep.
And the only group that has 3 people under one salary line.
Mhm.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Every other department has proactively broken them down into
Would we
individual
be
people.
better doing this with this group as the same?
I,
It would be easier, Marcia, if we had an hourly consumption rate or an hourly figure.
I am
That would
prepared
help
to
us.
give you, I am prepared to give you some hourly rates for not only Kathy, she's new, so she's gonna get the 3%, but Marie has been absolutely invaluable. In the past year, she has stepped up to doing everything that it would actually take a normal lister 3 to 5 years to do. And it's because of her background and her knowledge that she has been able to get us to a point where we don't have to ask outside consultants for help. She's really been invaluable. And I don't know whether this is something for a, executive session, but I really feel that there are a couple of pay rates that need to be raised. I really do.
All right, so we've got 2 things going on here. One is a proposed pay rate for right now in this fiscal year, which kind of ties into assuming there is one, but what's the number for running the lister's office next fiscal year? That's what we're budgeting for. Do you have a number that is different from the 89,592?
Actually, I think it was very close to that when I ran the numbers for increases. What I have to tell you is when Marie was hired, something fell apart with the starting rate of her pay. It should have been $20 an hour. She was knocked down to 18. So based on that, the 1.06, which was our big rate increase, I got this here somewhere, but I can send that to you so that you can take a look at it. But somewhere around this rate, it is, she said, should be somewhere around $21 an hour.
All right,
So she's proposing a
I don't know.
hourly rate increase plus additional, because if we raise the hours, so one of the issues is we're working in a fixed budget already for this year.
Correct.
Which
Yeah.
won't, which we did budget the 30 grand in there for Gail.
Right.
So this year we're okay.
Yeah, we are. Yep, you're
And
right,
so
Joey.
we're talking at a budget now that's going to start July 1st of next year.
Correct.
We need to come up with a number
Yes.
for that, but this year I think we're okay. What we're going to do is we're going to over expend the 86,982 we budgeted. for our
You're
list.
talking about this year.
The current budget we're
I
operating under.
understand that.
Right.
We're here to trying to figure out what we're gonna need for next year.
Right, so
Yeah.
in order to do that, we have to come up with some kind of idea. If we're going to increase hourly salaries beyond the 3%, then we're gonna have to figure out how much this 89,592 is gonna need to be.
Right.
This year, we have basically $116,000 to spend on our 3 listers to do the normal listing plus the personal property that they're going to be absorbing, because we
Right.
have 30 grand built in. If we increase the hourly pay rate starting in July of next year, or even this year, we have to be careful not to spend more than what we have available. And so if we're going to put a number for the proposed budget for 25, 26, we'll have to have, I think you're going to need at least as much as what we've got budgeted this year, which is roughly 116,000.
So what I just did was I took the 89,592,
Yep,
which is the 3% bump, understanding all of what you just said about
Yep.
we'll probably need an adjustment this year. And then I added the 30,000, which is the Gale Gantt piece,
yep,
and just said, okay, those two together combine to 119,592, or you can round it to $120,000
Right.
and then have 0 for the Gantic piece or
Right.
whatever.
right. That would put us in the same position we are for the current fiscal year.
So 120,000?
Let's go 110.
110.
Why?
Why? Because our listers are already working. So to think they're gonna pick up $30,000 worth of extra income added on
Oh,
top.
it's gonna be
is-
even more than that, Kirk. Believe me. Believe me.
Well,
With 259 new accounts that we're gonna have to account for, that's a lot.
So we're somewhere between 120,000 for listers salary and 110.
The same amount of work has to get done. So it's a question is, can these 3 people do it cheaper than the expert could do it before?
and because
don't
we
know.
have no yardstick, we have no clue.
But if it's already in there, why not leave it in there if we don't spend it? Great. It sounds like Marcia is going to argue that actually it needs to be even higher because the hourly rates need to go up, which affects
But
the 89,000.
we don't have anything I know the workload is going to go up, but we don't have any hours to base it on. If, so right now for this year, like I said, we've got roughly 126,000 to spend. Or 114 and 116,000 to spend this year.
Right.
If we did 110 for next year, it's a decrease, but we don't know, or we do this, or we level fund it.
Even at Marcia's pay rate, that's another 1,000 hours of labor at $30,000.
And if that's the case, that lady was
It's
working
27 weeks.
It's not there. It's not physically possible to do it.
But then you spread it among 3 people.
Right.
9 weeks. And that's at Marcia's pay rate.
Yeah.
I mean, presumably
what
it
number?
didn't take Gail that
That's-
long to do it, but
That's the 30,000.
That's the 30,000. So
Yeah,
just, I think we
there's
just leave
gonna
the
be a
30
curve.
in there, added the 30 to the, because we're gonna do it this year and we'll put the same number and then we'll be in, like Matt said, we spend it. I would like to see it decrease, but
He wants to see it decrease. Are
I
you at
would like-
120?
next
I
year,
was-
we're gonna be having a totally different discussion anyways, if we move to an assessor
right,
thing,
we
all
will.
this, the whole thing's going out the
We might
window.
not.
so-
Yeah.
but we won't have an
Depends on what the
excessor.
vote
Depends
says.
on the voters. yeah.
Right, that we
Exactly,
won't, I doubt
yeah.
if we'll have an assessor's position come July 1st of 2025. Maybe maybe a year.
No, the
Right,
year after.
right,
Well,
right,
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And
gonna
and
be
that'll be
more
next
than
year, when we're all
2025.
together.
That's my point.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
we're
if
talking the budget that's gonna start next July 1st.
For purposes of that's exactly my point. For the purposes of this, I think we just put in the 30, express our wish that it goes down. And then after that will be a totally new
My point is raise a little less money by taxes, and if it happens to be over, we're gonna take it up with the 1% money.
Well, there's no motion. Well, no, we don't usually do a motion. at
We
this
just gotta
point.
come up with a number here.
So, well, if you add 30,000 to the 89,592, that is 119,592.
We did put $650 on that reappraisal line for things for them. So
Yeah, Marshall and Swift.
yeah,
The
we,
Marshall and Swift.
So if we do
119,000?
either 119 or I was thinking 115, that's kind of in between.
Yeah,
That's still 25,000 to spend.
we can do 115. I mean, you gotta think that's 9 weeks on top of the time that they already work.
Right, that's a lot of a lot of extra hours for these ladies to be working. It won't be
going to
overtime,
be.
but it's
It's gonna be overtime.
So
of it will
is
be.
it 115?
I'm going 115.
Yeah, we can write that down.
Okay. Matt, you okay with that?
Sure.
All right, so am I.
We're quibbling over about $4,000.
Whatever it is.
Okay, so it's 115. But
Can
we
we
didn't
count on
quibble
you
very
guys to maybe come in and help us?
We'll help mail out the tax bills. How's
Okay.
that?
There you go.
We did that last time.
Well,
Okay,
you can come in and help send out the inventory forms, which are, that's a
sure.
quite an expense between us. So anyway, but also, you have to remember that, Kathy is only working 10 hours a week.
Yes. Yeah.
So, and, she's willing to increase her hours, absolutely. And we're gonna need her to increase the hours. Right now, we're, and Bill will attest to this, we are having a problem with, Marie's new computer and Kathy's new computer that we are not able to run the G&K system on their computers. We have to get together with John Erblin and with Nimric, Chris Mealy, to try and get, and we don't know what's happening. The only thing we can figure out, and I don't know whether, Bill, you'll agree with this, is this Fox Pro that these programs are being run by. I don't know, but Bill and Pat spent numerous hours trying to get the G&K program to work on both Marie's and Kathy's new computers. And I'm the only one right now that has access to the G&K program.
Okay, so, but that is, first of all, that's this year.
Right.
And next year, and it would be, next year, are you talking about new computers? Didn't we just get
Marcia
you
doesn't
some?
need one this year.
Yeah.
She's not next year. She's year
Okay.
after.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And do we have money? And that's a combined, I would assume, expenditure.
That's a different expense. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Different line.
So
That is a software vendor issue that they have to
Right,
work out
right.
why it's not working. It's nothing to
Okay,
do with
all
us.
right, so
Yeah.
that's not to do. Are there any other items in the general budget that reflect Lister expenses? I know we've got the software.
Yep.
Yep.
I don't think so. That was it.
I think that's
Their mileage, but that
Mileage.
was
We're gonna be,
okay.
we have a few more,
page 3, just above the
yeah,
transfer station.
yeah, we have a few
Or
more,
about planning commission.
yeah,
One,
I've
two,
raised
three,
it
about-
to, 300, I don't,
Middle
but I-
page.
yeah, I don't think.
Oh, Lister's mileage. It's
Yeah.
up to 300. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna, we're gonna make that, but, there's been a lot of,
Way down, page 3.
5223.
Lister's mileage.
yeah. It's been a lot of,
Here.
people with, building permits, and new homes.
Oh, it is.
So it's going to be a lot of traveling. We have accomplished a lot this fall that will, take care of us not having to go out, in early spring. So,
Okay, any other, so you're okay with 300 for mileage?
yes, yep. I don't think
Okay.
we're going to meet that, but,
We'll see.
right. Your
Do
education,
you play any part in professional services or is that?
that's Vala.
I don't think
That's
so.
$50 a year for the three of us.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, no,
And
okay. we're
the
good.
VLTC is under, I think, under Bill's. We belong to
Yep.
VLTC, but that's, I think,
Yes.
under Bill's.
Yep, I got that one.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
so is that it for you, Marcia?
That's about it. Thank you.
Okay,
All right.
any questions, any further questions?
No,
I think we're good. Okay,
All right.
thank you very much, Marcia.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
yeah. Good night.
Good night. Okay, Carrie Clark.
She gets the rest. No,
Well, she gets
a good share of it.
good share of it, so.
Hello.
Hey, Carrie, do you want
Oh,
to start with the revenues?
sure. I have a version in front of me, so if I make any mistakes, just tell me you already have the numbers.
Okay,
It's probably not the same version that you have. All right, so if we start from the top with revenues for general, I'm showing delinquent property taxes as 200,000. I believe this
Yeah.
number came from Don, and I agree with that.
yep,
The fees we don't normally put in because we're not sure what he collects.
okay, and that's a pass through anyway, right?
So I have a question on this.
Yes, I think.
Yes.
Because we don't then have an expense for delinquent tax collectors' fees.
Right. What's your question, Matt?
Okay.
So this came up at some prior meeting and we just kind of bookmarked it for later, but if we're assuming well, I don't know, I guess, do we really budget the rest of it? We don't really budget the taxes. We just figure out how much we need to raise and we figured out. I guess the question that came up previously was if we're assuming 200,000 or whatever the number is in a given year for delinquent revenue, that's, you know, it's revenue because people didn't pay it in the prior year.
Right.
Yeah, we've been trying to figure this out for quite a while.
So, and maybe this is
It's
an
probably
Andrew
not
question,
Carrie
but
question, but
should there, yes,
So what
maybe.
you're saying is we were short in the previous year?
Well,
that's the thing,
should
you're
there be a
raising-
shrinkage, I guess,
you're
on the
raising those
expense
that
side somewhere?
that tax dollars and it's not getting paid,
Right.
and then you're using it as an income the next year.
But I
Right.
guess if you put it as an expense, then you're raising, that doesn't really make sense either. So I don't know, maybe.
Yeah,
I don't
I've
know if the
never been
answer
able to
is-
grasp that.
So
Leave
is
it the
that,
way it is,
is that
or
a
you think
good
that-
question to run through the auditor?
I think that's a splendid
think it's-
question for the.
Because
auditor.
I think, I understand that point.
Yeah.
We're saying that money that wasn't paid to us is now going to be income, but we're short last year because
Right.
it didn't get paid. But we're
Right.
gonna add, and actually, if you look at it though, we almost get caught up because we anticipated 100,000 in the previous year and we got 352. So we were saying 100,000 of what we didn't get paid, but we got $252,000 more than what we didn't get paid.
I mean, it may be fine, because really, at the end of the day.
But
what we're-
it doesn't, and it's not just from 1 year though. That's the thing about delinquent
Right,
taxes.
that's right.
They do run backwards for a number of years.
What we're trying to do at the end of the day is determine how much we need to raise by taxes, so this may work just fine, but
Because
I've
it's
never been
a,
able to
because
try
it's a
that.
revolving amount. You know, you get a good aggressive tax collector and the amounts that are short come in, but there's always some. And so the amount to be raised by taxes is kind of evened off by the amount you collect from the delinquent ones. It's that you're $200, 250,000 short in income because they didn't pay them, but you collect 250,000 from the delinquent ones and it
From the
comes out
past
zero.
ones. Yeah, I don't know. It's always seemed weird to me. but
So, and it's,
that's the way it's done for now. So that's
Yeah.
the way
I
we're
guess
doing
it
it.
makes sense, because we're not budgeting income for general taxes of just the local option.
Right.
So I guess it works because you just figuring.
You're
the
just-
only, this part in here is just to offset your expenses to determine how you set the tax rate. So
I mean, I guess,
Probably works.
I guess because we sweep all of our accounts clean at the end of the year, it starts us back at zero. So whatever the
Yeah.
negatives are, come out there and then we start again.
That's true.
Right.
I don't know. It's always seemed weird to me, but
Okay, I
Alright.
can move on. I guess I guess I
So we needed to vent
Matt,
on
this is the
that one.
first
Thank
line
you
of the
for
general
listening.
budget we got.
Thank you for listening, Carrie.
Gary,
We're
do you
moving
have an
right along.
opinion or you want to just move on?
I'd love to
Hmm.
move on.
Okay. Interest delinquent tax is 18,000 about right?
Yes, absolutely. Let's see.
And
Do you have 24 interest in the banks?
Right.
yes,
Okay.
Now, the
Um,
last 2 years, that's been better than that, but if you over anticipate, you're gonna get bit.
wow.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
but the interest rates are, we also know are a lot higher than they were, a
Hmm.
few years ago. So,
We also had a large capital improvement balance that we were collecting. in
Right, and we don't have that anymore.
Right.
That's gone. And we don't
Correct.
have
So
some
we-
other funds that we have expended about, what,
You expended
$2.5 million?
ARPA.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
had $2.5 million collecting interest that we no longer have.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
They're paying for somebody's new
So I
car.
guess we're good with 20.
All right,
Right.
So
Dog
move-
licenses,
that's good.
2,000. Okay.
Yeah. And marriage
Marriage-
licenses,
Yeah.
640. Those are
Um,
always like just kind of guess. The dog licenses,
Okay.
there hasn't been a whole lot of sales. And
Yep.
marriage licenses, you absolutely never know who's gonna come from another
True.
state.
Mhm.
I believe Dell did the transfer station
Yep.
stuff.
Yes, he
We're good
did.
there.
Liquor licenses, I like 700, I guess. It's such a, again, it's a guessing game. I don't know. The recording fees, I'd like to be at 20. It's there's still a ton of recording, but not as much as COVID, so thank goodness.
Right. Okay.
Vault time, let's keep it at 5,000.
People still come in even though they can use the remote option.
They do. I haven't seen, the amount of traffic through my office has lessened over time. So yeah, there's not a lot of people that I see on a
The
daily.
remote option still requires payment though, right?
Still
Yeah,
requires
it does.
payment.
Yeah. So that would be reflected there in the same place.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't have anything filled in for traffic or pilot. Did you guys fill that in already?
We've not for traffic, so we'll look to you on that, but we did for pilot. We have 12,000.
Okay. The traffic, if it came in at like 13 last fiscal year, I'd say 14 or 15. JP's been keeping pretty.
JP has been working more hours. so
Yeah.
this
Chief
year.
said that new guy coming in as SRO is interested in doing traffic when he's not doing SRO. So
Great.
that
And-
number will go up.
Yeah,
Maybe
and-
we
and
should keep it at
increased
15.
Yeah.
Okay, 15 it is.
Yeah.
That was one of the things when we increased JP's hours last year, or into this budget. So,
Okay, so nothing for records restoration, school treasury
hasn't-
salary. That's-
Yeah, that hasn't changed. 3,000 there.
Yep,
Yep.
3,000.
Yeah, the 3.
Nice try, but yeah.
No, I said 3, didn't I?
No, you
sounded
said
like
30,
30 on our
but
end.
that's okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
did it sound like 30? No, I didn't mean to say that. Railroad tax, that is pretty consistent, 650.
Yeah.
No special election, I don't think. Yeah.
Yeah, really.
And let's
It wouldn't
see.
be for this coming March, it would be the following year anyway.
Yeah.
Did we talk at one point?
Well-
Didn't we talk about starting to put a little bit in there in the regular
Hmm.
thing?
well,
Just
if we have a school
case.
vote where we gotta go, those are all special elections, right?
That's right.
Easily
That's
ask.
right.
So do we,
This is income.
oh, this is
Oh,
income,
right,
right?
okay.
Oh,
Right,
why
never
is it-
mind,
You're right, you're right.
never mind.
Oh, so why do we have?
Why would we get paid for a special election? How do you
Maybe
get
did
paid for a
it,
special election?
I'm wondering if maybe in the past
It's-
the school has reimbursed us or something. I don't know.
Maybe.
Maybe.
No.
Did
That's
the
what I was
state
wondering.
give us a little bit of money one time when everybody had to do it? Recently, could be.
No, it.
There's nothing in the back to a
not
couple
to
years, so.
2022, so
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we're not gonna get any money there.
Yeah.
And
Uh,
let's see, you guys, you already filled in current use, right?
We just stayed with 10,000, yeah.
I agree. And I don't think anything else is mine except for we probably should have to have a conversation for local options.
Yeah, so we didn't ask Barbara on subdivision, and I'm assuming that's the subdivision fee.
That's
that-
the permit fee. We typically don't budget because it's
Okay.
just a,
So we just leave a 0 in there?
yeah, it's
Okay.
just there if it is. If
And
not,
what is traffic reimbursement, which we haven't done for a long time?
I,
Just 0?
That was the Pittsford thing, wasn't it?
was that the Pittsburgh thing or was that when?
The AMIA.
Army Patrol.
Yeah.
No, well,
but
that
that
would have
showed-
been
no,
under
that showed up in
police.
theirs.
In the
Yeah,
police.
okay.
That didn't have anything to do with, no, that was an expense when we had trouble with the traffic tickets with the city
Oh, I think that's it.
where we,
Right. We got some of the city's money and we had to pay them
but that one
back.
shouldn't be in this line. That should be, this is like we were,
That's income, right?
I don't know what that one
Well, let's
was,
just put 0 because
but we haven't, it doesn't have any activity.
Mead Tract, I think we probably got some timber off it. Did we get timber sales?
Yes, that would have been probably
Yeah.
timber sales, but we haven't done that recently.
0.
So no anticipated stuff.
Okay, reappraisal miscellaneous insurance fire district.
That's our
Oh,
reimbursement.
Right.
Yep.
We
from
do
the-
ask for it
You
each
do.
year,
We do.
so we should budget a little something. Is 413 about right?
It's about right. It's not going to be much different.
Do you wanna round it?
Yeah, I would.
415. You have it 415.
420,
I hear 420.
you know, 400 might be an even number. I don't know.
400 is pretty even.
400 is fine.
400,
400.
okay.
So the rates haven't come out yet. I mean, those are coming out usually in the next couple weeks. So
what is that covering?
there are fire districts who are part of our VLCT policy because they can get it for much less expensive under our policy than they're on their own. Some of them are $1 a year. No kidding. So there are 4. And when we get the bill, it breaks down by cost department and they have their own cost. And I send them a invoice, say, hey, time to pay us.
So are you saying that there are some that are not, or therefore spending too much money?
I can't speak to how much money they're spending or not spending. That is beyond the scope of my knowledge on the topic.
Which one of those is mine? That's what I really need to know.
I can show you the list later on, but there's 4 of them. Yeah, but yeah, I
Okay.
have it all. Yeah, but that's what it says. It's 400 is fine.
Okay, so Carrie, we're now on to local option tax.
So I thought to keep it at 1.3, but that's a conversation between everyone, I guess.
Yeah, I hear you because we were down a little. We're still running
Yeah.
pretty well, but 1.3 seems pretty good.
Probably get our, we've gotten used to the last 2 years of collecting 200 or 300 more,
Yeah,
but we're probably going to meet our goal of 1.3,
yeah,
I would think.
I want to see one more year before we bump it another 100 grand.
1.3, okay. You okay with 1.3?
One more year.
Where are
if
we
we're- if
running
we're
now,
pretty
Gary?
consistent.
I think,
We're running
We
on
just don't
on
know.
track to 1.3. I agree with Kurt wholeheartedly. I want to see it be consistent a little more before we bump it up.
Yeah, okay.
because we went quite a while at 1.2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You want me to keep going or?
Yes, please. No, we did 1.2 1 year and
Yeah.
then we went to 1.1. Then before that it was 1.1.
Yeah.
1.1,
So,
yeah, 1.2.
okay. Yes, please keep going. Sorry.
No, that's fine. So Social Security based on all of the payroll lines here is 35. That's a calculation. My spreadsheet, Bill, I think this is before the changes today. And I don't have, did I tell you 1950 for the general?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
perfect.
Okay, good.
For childcare contribution. the select board, is reflective of 3%. The town lister line, I know I heard Bill
You wanna do
ask.
that?
Wait, hold on, just to.
I always ask this question.
Yeah,
We don't, so the act, for 1 year, we budgeted 28,640. The actual was 25. We go up to 3%, but I don't think we always use it all. Do we want to keep bumping it up by 3% if we're not
Wait,
spending?
well,
Or-
1 year we did.
Well, that was because you did 2 years
I
in
did,
1 year.
that's-
You
That's
messed
right.
up your
Yeah,
time
I
sheet.
did.
messed
That
it.
was my my
Right,
bad.
and so and we've kind of come up with a
All
plan
right.
now that everybody kind of does them quarterly,
I do.
or everybody, so I'm
said
just wondering
defensively. I do.
if we budgeted 28,000 in there. I mean, I don't know where we're looking right now, but
So there was carried a question on your rate on here, which is why it's highlighted, but you
Mhm.
have the 4 categories. You have the chair, the clerk, members at large, annual total, and then a per hour additional work rate.
right,
So
So I
I
think
lost that page. I know it's on my desk somewhere, but I
It's
can't.
somewhere on your desk.
It's yeah,
It's
somewhere
like
in your
that.
step. That's it.
my, my.
I'm just
question
looking at-
with oh, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, we don't spend it in being the governing body and being the 5 people that are trying to
Set a good
nitpick.
example.
Yeah, set a good example. We're nitpicking some budgets all the heck. I mean, I'd put 28,000 in there and be comfortable. But
I'm good with
So
that.
I doubt if we're
Um,
gonna-
So if we add up, if you don't do any per hour work and you all take exactly what you're supposed to take, it's $23,079 for this year.
Right. Right. And if for the current fiscal year we're
Current
operating,
year we're in.
right,
Yes.
and that gives us 6 grand for hourly
It's
time
just-
for
Yes.
meetings and stuff,
It's
which
really-
I usually put in for, and I don't know what the rest of you, usually everybody does.
So let's set it at 25,000. When we run out, we run out.
Well, I'd like to cover it and, I mean, but I'm just thinking if we budgeted 28 in the last completed year, we spent 25, which isn't, really close.
I like the 28 better.
I'd like to go
I'm
with the
sure.
28 and it just looks better to me.
Okay.
And,
We've only.
and if we have a really good year and we're here an awful lot and we go over that,
Yeah.
and we're really busy and we might be, in my opinion, if we're here that much, we're making money for the town somewhere. We're doing something that's, we're meeting for something important or not.
Okay.
All right. But that's just
Kurt,
me.
you just got outvoted.
So we're putting 28.
We're putting 28.
Yeah, I'm, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We've got 115 for listers and down to town clerk. And this is a split town clerk, town treasurer.
Yep.
And is this 35,270? Is that 3% increase over the 33?
Yes, it is Susan did this for me because I didn't feel right touching my own salary. But it was with
Who the hell would know?
it's with that
As we sat here manipulated ours.
the $1,000
be-
I think that you had approved earlier this
Yes.
fiscal year, that increase is reflective of that extra 1,000 from this fiscal year.
Okay.
So it was based on that number.
Okay.
So she did that. I didn't want to have anything to do with that.
Okay.
But I did want to just kind of go back. I don't want to beat this line to death, but the town listers one,
Yeah.
I followed the entire conversation. I'm just I'm sure you're very mindful of when we go to present this, somebody's gonna say, holy cow, like what's the bump up, like the huge difference. And I was wondering if we should break out that line like Bill had talked about, like there's one line, what if we broke it out into the 3 salaried people somehow? That's just a question. It doesn't have to be answered, I guess. I just thought that maybe it would be less of a shocker to people.
So in a way, Carrie, I kind of agree with you, but because the listers don't work fixed hours.
Yep.
I think I think they're gonna like the girl that works 10. Anyway,
Kathy.
Yeah,
Kathy.
Kathy
Yep.
works 10. So if we knew how many hours she was actually gonna work and how many Marie was gonna work, Marcia has a more set schedule, but the other two are kind of part-time. It's
Right.
kind of hard to do. And I think we can explain the increase from the 86.9 to 115 by explaining the incorporation of the Gale Gantech contract for 30 grand. And so
Sure.
we're actually going to be spending less than the total was. And our girls are now going to be doing all of the work that
Right.
4 people were doing, but now it's just going to be 3. I think that's easy, because
yeah,
when you get down to that line, there's going to be a goose egg there now.
Yeah.
So it'll be a little easier if all of our listers worked fixed hours, then I'd agree with you that we should break it out into 3, list the head lister and then the 2 part-timers, but because they don't, I don't know what hours they're actually going to be picking up.
Arguably, it's
That make you a
actually-
little easier to swallow?
It's actually.
Oh, yeah,
decreased
I
'cause
just-
the rate is cut 5
We
grand.
just have to be prepared for the conversation when we.
Right,
post it.
and because we beat it to death for putting in a half an hour, I think we got a good answer.
Yeah, I think so too.
We can
Okay.
ask another side.
Yeah.
I'm not,
so,
so back on the treasurer and clerk, I'm not following the math here. So the $1,000 was a one-time bonus, right?
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
But regardless of how you do it, I am not coming up with. So if you take their 33,207, if you use that number times 3%, right?
uh-huh.
That would be 996 that you add to that, which would be 34,203. So even if you added the bonus between the two, it still wouldn't. I don't know how we get to 35,270.
Yeah, the bonus would be like 500 in each position. Because it was 1,000 bonus, right?
Right.
So if we did that, but
If you
that's
did
still.
that,
isn't-
then you're 33.
it comes to,
707.
right, it comes to 10, 11,
11,
10, 11, 21.
3. What is it? 707. Then you'd be at 34,718. I mean, I'm not saying those are inappropriate, but if we're trying to be consistent here, then seems like it. I'm not following the math.
Hold on. I'm just doing some things here.
Yeah,
That's why I said I didn't touch it.
pretty close, but I'm still not quite there, but
It came up a little bit different on hers too, but not by much. So,
yeah.
um,
Hold on.
if you take the 62,453 times 0.3, 62,453, that would be 64,326 is what I got.
Oh.
So I don't know
yeah,
why. Obviously, I haven't gone through and checked every one of these, but
I think Susan did all the calculations for
You did.
salary increases. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, my worksheet's not working. It's not the right one.
Well, it's a $2,063 increase for each line, which I'm not,
Yeah,
that's more than the 3%.
I see I'm consistently, so town administrator, I'm getting a different number too. So I don't know how this was done. I mean, easy way.
I think Susan's going off. So there's salary rates on this page, on the
Okay.
page that you have,
And
that
then
are
multiply it.
different than are what on the budget sheet, and I don't know why.
Oh,
yeah.
well, that would explain it then. That's a
Mhm.
uniform theory of mathematical difference. I mean, the easier way to do this than what I was just saying out loud is just to take the number and multiply by 1.03.
Right.
Yeah,
um, but yeah, I guess what we have to look at is actually the rates. So, well, but this doesn't tell us what the,
It's like, so like just doing 3% of Susan's,
well,
it
these are the
comes to
current. These are the
64,
current rates that we
326
have.
I come up with.
And they're different than what the budget says, and I don't know why.
When you say that what the budget says, where,
yeah.
The
So-
24-25 budget line, which we're in right now,
Mhm.
those salary numbers are different than what's on this salary rate page
we're just
for the
taking-
same
we're
time
just
period.
taking these and multiplying
they
by
more or
2,000
less?
hours.
They're more, some of them are more, and I don't know why.
Okay, so we might have to do a little more research on the salaries.
I think so. I think it's a question for her tomorrow.
Okay.
So if you don't mind, Bill, does yours look accurate?
So it does, but like this, the town clerk line, the town treasurer line, and my line on here are exactly $1,000 less than they are on this page. The proposed budget number comes from a 3% increase off this page,
Okay.
not off the budget sheet, and I don't know why.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
saying the current budget numbers are too low?
They're different. I don't.
So did we?
You sound like an attorney.
No, but I'm wondering, did we do something like that?
So last year, it's possible the numbers just got done
$1,000
wrong
increase or somewhere along the line.
I mean, I'm
on
happy
top
to
of
take
the
one, but I don't
3%?
remember having asked for one.
I think we
What?
should just ask Susan where her thinking was coming from.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Continue
okay.
to move on.
Well, so
We have a
last
lot
year
to
we
cover.
did 3% also, didn't we?
Yeah, I'm seeing what you're putting down here.
And if I'm looking at Bill's
Well,
line, 64,171
Hmm.
times 1.03 would be 66,096.
So, but I'm wondering, did we, in one of our infinitely smart maneuvers, do things like add 1,000 to these salaries out of, just on top of the 3%, which would reflect,
No.
no? You don't, okay, well, I'm just asking,
No,
Yeah.
I'm thinking.
Where the hell is Dave's? Where's the highway budget? Because Dave's on police, fire. Come on. Road commissioner. That's, well,
I
this one is at
almost thought
34,207.
some
They all are.
bonus stuff,
Can I find it? I'm blind
but
and one eye
not
can't
last
see it.
Dave's
year,
rate's
the year
right.
before.
Dave's rate is right. That's 68,790.
68,790, and then it went up 3% for the next year. So Dave's right. But
'Cause
it
Dave was
is
a new hire. I think we did some bonuses,
for our,
a couple of, I think we did for Bill, didn't we?
one year we did, I remember.
Yeah,
There was I think it was either 21 or 22.
That was the year when Don was
Yeah.
yes.
sinking the ship,
Right.
running the ship. But they are, it's interesting because it is 34,207. And then on the budget sheet, it shows 33,207 for Carrie's salary. So there's a little discrepancy here.
Okay, so it's still got to go back to, we'll ask Susan why the two different
And then
sets
we
of
could-
numbers. So we can't do much more with that tonight.
Yeah, right.
Which brings me to, it's 10 minutes of 9. How much more do you folks want to do tonight?
What? Or
Okay,
I would like
much
to get to the end, but
can you
that's just,
stand tonight?
because
I
then,
think it's probably gonna be that was probably gonna be the hardest part of the whole thing. So
Okay,
the salary part. So
so let's see if we can get through the rest of it.
Yeah.
all right.
So Board of Civil Authority, that is
Down a little.
hopefully we won't. Yes, we won't have quite as many elections, and it is, let's see. Yeah, okay,
And that's kind of in line what we've spent in the past.
yeah,
We might want to
it's-
go a little more, 45 to cover, because the last
yeah,
one was 49.
4904.
Yeah.
So, okay, 4,500.
You wanna
That's
increase
on a
that?
year.
Is that 4,500, Carrie, do you think, for BCA?
I
Now,
mean,
that's different from
yeah.
ballot clerks.
Right. I
Okay,
mean,
Yeah.
but there's,
but we, this covers not only getting ready for any elections, but also abatements and
abatements
those
and
things,
any,
yeah.
right.
So, okay. Ballot clerks, 3,000, okay?
Yep.
That's up 500 from the year. Yeah, okay. Office help salary, is that back to another Susan question, Carrie?
Well, it's a salary, it's 3% on the 36,000, so that would be Deb's position.
Doesn't work good if you put way too many zeros.
Does for Deb.
It adds 1080.
Yeah, I got
That's-
that. Yeah, that's okay.
That one's good.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
one's
That one's
good.
good. That's a 1080 is right.
Health officer, did we get anything from JP?
So
for these?
health officer from 5154 through 5170 are the constables, and that is constable supplied numbers. They are
Okay.
happy.
Okay, so all of those are,
Moving along.
That's good.
all right.
We're down to postage.
The First constable, I'm just checking these. Okay. Postage.
We
Um,
put 8,000 there, postage has gone up, it's 73 cents for a stamp now, so.
Disgusting.
Do we have a postage meter?
We do not
So-
use like one that we do, like a Pitney Bowes kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
We don't, but I have looked into it, not fully, but it is up, something we could look into at some point.
Okay,
As
well, I'll
much as
leave
we
that to
use,
you.
as
I
much as
don't
we
wanna-
use, we've never been really a heavy enough user to warrant the cost of the thing.
To get the machine.
Yeah.
Get the machine, yeah.
So does this include mailing the circle?
Is that the line that so I remember I was telling Bill that we've had to pay the school as well as Janelle. So I think I put it in the circle line instead of the postage line. I
Okay,
upped that one.
That keeps your office expenses out of here. clear.
okay. And does that include mailing tax bills? Probably.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. This
Okay.
line always entails that.
Okay, and mailing the town report?
Yes.
Okay. Which is the next line, town report. And do we have some numbers?
Don't you have a number in there?
Yeah.
Yeah, we
65.
do.
Yeah.
It
And
went
that's
down.
That's it.
and
How come
because
it
we
went
did
down,
what,
Bill?
a
Because we did a 3-year
3-year
contract.
Yeah.
Cool, cool. All right. I
Okay.
like that.
Town hall supplies,
But, all right. so
6,500.
I'm assuming they figured this out.
Yeah, recording supplies,
Up a little.
5,500, a little, yeah.
That went up only because I put in that line our subscription to COTS, which is $270 a month. So
Okay.
that is in
Okay.
there. And also the books and the pages and all of that is what
Yep,
was previously in that line.
okay, good to know.
Microfilming, I left it 1,000.
Uh-huh.
Still putting it on microfilm just in case, I still like that idea.
Yep.
We don't have a whole lot of elections this cycle, so I think 3,000 should be plenty, honestly.
We need a bunch of new pens to mark the ballots with. They're pretty crappy.
We do, and also we
Let's
pay.
add $13.
Just to round it off. Round it off.
make Joe cringe. Let's add $13 to that.
Sorry, Carrie, we're getting a little,
It's
All right.
okay. Let's see. I think, did we go over the streetlights already? I mean, that's
No,
That's where we are. Those are out of our control.
yeah, 14.5 sounds about right.
okay,
Let's see. We did transfer station with Dell.
yep.
Yep.
That's to
Town hall maintenance.
Is it maintenance, electricity? Gary, do that?
Aren't we up to
Town
do?
hall electricity.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
That's-
Town hall electricity, yes.
Yeah, 7,000 sounds about right. We paid out 61.92 last year. Let's see. Town hall fuel oil. I think, Bill, you might have put that number in there, right?
Yep. Yep.
And
Even with the good bid we got, we think. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's depends how cold it is, so.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's the offset week. We have the heat pumps in every office, but there are some offices that use both. So
Yeah.
it depends upon how each one is used.
okay. And then I think, Bill, you filled in the 8,000 for the phone and internet.
So the phone internet. So right now the police pay a portion. They get charged a portion of the cost for the building. They won't, well, we'll assume they're not going to be charged a portion in this budget.
It's just going to be further down.
Right.
Yeah.
But so
Yeah.
the cost isn't really changing. It's just shifting all toward our side of the budget. So
Okay.
That brings us
Okay.
to the maintenance, which I think we were leaving for discussion tonight.
We
It's
have
not
this building.
mine.
Yeah. I mean, we keep putting 40 in here and try to get some work done. I don't know.
What's next?
We're still working on our renovations, but I think our next steps are going to be costly in
Yeah.
hundreds of thousands. Huh?
we need a couple more zeros.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, 400 would get us pretty close, but not
Want to
quite.
do a lot, but not all of it.
Not all of it. And I don't think we're going to anticipate jumping into that more. I don't know what our next
It's-
steps here we can do.
it's-
I think we got to go to the big numbers now.
If we are going to commit to that project, it's the project. It's not, we can't do half the room.
Right. It's got to be
Because
done.
it's too, every space touches another space.
Yeah.
It's invasive. So if we're going to say we're going to go ahead, that's, I think, a separate budget line.
Yeah.
And
So
Yeah.
maybe a ballot item
Ballot
altogether.
item.
yeah.
I actually think that the proper way to do the renovations downstairs is to come up with a contract number, a number to do it.
Yeah.
Put it on the ballot. That's,
We have the first thing.
now, please.
No,
That's
this is
that's a
probably
next
not
year
the-
thing.
Yeah, no, but I'm just saying, I think that's the proper way to do it.
So
Also,
I think-
once the public safety building is completed and we can get our capital improvement figures settled down, and it might be 2 budgets from now, and when we can come up and we say this project's going to cost us 600,000, but we got 250 that we can apply to it, then we can go to the voters and say, this is what we know. So to that note, I would put 25,000 in building maintenance.
Sure.
Kind of where my number was.
Okay.
And that'll get us, because there's not much more we can do at this point.
Maintenance, we had the scan done this
Oh, yeah.
budget year, which was fantastic. But that was for a third of the cemetery. So I would like to do another third again this coming year. If
That number going to cover us? Excuse me.
The
What's that?
The 6 grand are good?
Oh yeah, it's
Okay, you're
it
good.
was 5 for the ground radar, and then our my mother-in-law, who is phenomenal at doing that, is doing a wonderful job cleaning stones and stuff, and that's, so it's really looking good. So yep, so that covers the rest of the supplies.
Okay. Right.
Professional
Is
services.
that? No, it's not where we put it.
That's Teresa currently.
Who is it?
Teresa,
Oh, okay.
that's where she's coming from currently.
Okay. And what else do we cover with that?
Any specialized help?
Yeah, really, like it's like, it's not Andres, it's not, those kind of
Yeah.
things, because they have their own
25.
lines, but
25? Yeah.
I don't know. How much more Teresa stuff do we have?
We've
is she gonna go
emailed
into
her.
July of next year?
Huh?
Is she going through past July of next year?
No. We won't, because we won't make it past. next year.
Yeah, but the book's got to be finished.
I know it does,
We were 18,000 before.
but it doesn't have to be printed
I
in
mean, we could
embossed
put
leather.
20 in there and
Yeah, 20
cover inflation. Because I don't know what else we're paying out of there, but
Did somebody say 25?
I said 25, Kurt said 20. You two have to vote.
I
Well,
said,
we
8
budgeted.
I said 18. We came down to
18.
20.
The actual, if you look to the actual from 23, 24, it was 22, 625, and then we obviously bumped it up, I think, in part because of the work with Teresa. So I wouldn't go lower than the 22.
Yeah. I think
18 or 20?
25.
Oh, I think it's gonna be,
You want to,
Well, yeah, the actual actually has some of Teresa in it, doesn't it?
right?
The 22,000. Other than that,
20.
if she's all done by then, we're not really.
Had a couple.
Yeah,
had a couple
she was,
thousand.
because it was earlier this year. Yeah, because she started working earlier this year. So yeah, that's part of hers in there.
Yeah.
Your number, Matt?
20. How about 23?
2250. That's halfway.
No,
Sold.
it's gotta be
Gavel.
it's gotta be 23. because
23?
It's a smidge up from the actual.
Okay,
23.
I can live with that. That's a $12,000 cut.
Yep.
How much you want to hire our general attorney? Or our attorney general?
I would hope less, but
Yeah, I haven't been, I mean, we
spent
had
30.
all of the stuff that came through. There was a lot of it attached to Cortina.
Tina. Did we?
That's lessening somewhat.
And then we had the other.
We had the subdivision stuff. He did a lot of work on that. I don't think we've seen that bill yet.
We have.
Have we?
And it went to the planning commission legal line.
Okay.
So they have their own line, which
was gone.
Exceeded
that
their
one.
line.
Yeah.
We
Yes.
picked up.
Um,
30 is always a good number.
stick with the 30.
all right.
Yeah. You never know who we're gonna
Strive not to exceed it.
tick off.
Oh, what are we at this year? Because, so
Yeah.
far. Oh, what's the line number?
5211.
211.
211, 35, 211.
Oh,
We're at 6,800.
And we're
Really? Oh, that's
halfway through the
halfway
year.
through.
Well, this is, beginning of December, but
yeah.
almost halfway. So.
You think maybe
Cross
less?
your fingers.
800?
So the 30 might be good
30
enough.
is good. Okay, tax appeals.
Is that a different attorney?
No, but I think we'd split it off differently
Yeah,
for accounting purposes.
we've been putting
Sure.
1,000 in and we didn't spend any last year.
If you
Yeah.
actually
So we'll stick
have
with the
one, it's gonna
1,000?
Cost you a lot more, isn't it?
Yeah,
Mhm.
probably will.
I'm not sure what the
I was gonna
purpose
say
is.
$1,000 is not gonna get you many hours.
Well, what do we
I
have?
think
We
that
had
might have been
3.
related to if it was like an insurance claim, because that's exactly our deductible. So I'm wondering if that was like, I
Oh,
wonder if that was like, if we had like a VLCT claim,
Why would that be a tax appeal?
yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
Because it was
Does
misnamed.
the LCT
It-
cover
I
some of that? Do you have
cover a
tax-
lot, but
Yeah.
I don't know if that corresponds with our deductible. I don't know if that's what it was or not,
So-
but that's just always been funded at $1,000 and
Yeah, okay,
We going with 1,000?
yes. That's remains our deductible for VLCT, right?
does.
Okay. And municipal retirement, that's Carrie's number.
Yep, it's 30. So all the salaries reflect the 9%, which will be starting July 2025. So
Okay,
that is 30. And then the next number is not me, but the next
nope,
two,
that's
the
I talked to
1,000.
Andres. That's representative of what we should expect to spend minus grant funding.
okay, all right.
And then
Have
I
we
don't-
reflected income? Sorry, just a minute, Carrie. Have we reflected income from grants to cover those expenses? We have,
No,
okay. So this is basically a net number.
yes, it
Okay.
is.
All right, sorry. Go ahead, Carrie.
Oh, no, that was fine. The training and the mileage, not even a big deal. I don't even have to have 1,000 or 500 in there, but I just plugged it in. Just
That's
in
fine.
case I
That's
don't
good.
ever use it.
How
And
far can you get on $500? Not fair.
select board members, guys.
Don't we have to do ethics training or something?
Oh,
Yeah, do we have to pay for that, or is somebody covers?
the league is
Somebody
the
cover
league
that.
paying?
Ethics training.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Oh boy.
Oh,
we're
boy.
used to it. Lawyers have to go through ethics training a lot. which probably
might
comes
fail
as no
that.
surprise to you.
Yeah.
Um,
I took a class at college. Good enough.
I don't know. And do we have enough
We're gonna
to,
put lister or select board mileage? We've been running $100.
you know, I never think to put in for that
I
and I
would
have
leave
no
it.
Never
intention
have.
of it. So I, you know,
We just-
combine it with something
we
else when I'm
staying,
over
we
here.
staying with it.
Yeah.
That was there for a
100.
reason.
Do you want to make clerk treasurer training staff training? That way, if there's classes that you need to take and it's not covered, it's not just kind of limited.
Where,
What's that,
Well,
Bill?
I mean,
That back, you talk about the ethics class if there's a cost for it,
the-
but
the
the clerk-
listers have their own line, but
Yeah.
yeah, but that could be combined also. Just, it's not a big deal.
no, I think it's okay.
Okay.
Select board mileage, 100.
Yep.
All right.
We don't seem to spend any.
Second constable mileage,
You didn't ask for any.
okay. Others mileage, 100.
Yep.
Town administrators mileage. Okay. Health officer, 200, general insurance. Okay, Carrie, I think this might be your number.
No, the health insurance is mine. I think general insurance is VLCT.
Yep.
That's-
Okay.
And
That's-
that's the
that's
number
what it
they
is,
gave
yep.
us.
Okay.
Yep.
And the 165,000 is yours, Carrie, for help?
Yeah, health insurance has significantly increased, just like we've all kind of seen on the page I gave to everyone.
Yeah.
Family plans are almost $4,000 for a month. So that is a reflective of what everyone has in place right now. So that is
Okay.
for the increase.
Ready? Where's? Do we just go over, where's the payroll tax for childcare?
We haven't got there yet.
Okay,
It was the first, it was
Was it-
it was like one of the first lines.
Yeah.
19 something.
Second
Yeah, it
line.
was the
oh,
second,
there it
second
is,
line.
bottom of the
Yep.
first page, okay,
Yep.
sorry.
1950.
Yep.
All right, new equipment,
Yes, normally we do 10,000. Our building computer server is 5 years old. It will be 6 years old next year, and that is when it should be replaced. So
okay,
that is the cost to do that. Copier, general equipment, copier maintenance, that's in line with what we're projecting out.
Mhm.
Advertising, I think we're pretty consistent. That's Rutland Herald notices, then all the planning commission stuff. Pound keeper.
do we have a pound keeper?
Well, we
It was-
didn't,
it
we
was
didn't
Paul, wasn't it?
reappoint one this year, but
Right, okay,
I think Paul will still do it if we wanted him to.
okay,
So we want to leave $100 in there.
yeah,
Bank interest, no problem.
yeah, it's not a.
VLCT dues is accurate.
Gotta see where I'm going next. Gotta find the right page.
I know it's gonna, it's gonna bother you, Joe, but the 6609 is what our dues are for VLCT.
Okay.
You can round it if you like, but it's just gonna,
We'll have $1 left. That is just drives.
Miscellaneous, that's the occasional flowers for somebody.
yes, that's those kind of things.
Okay.
White chocolate. Yeah.
Okay,
Computer service is Pat right now.
Okay.
Vermont Digital doesn't exist anymore, but we were able to retain him as a contractor, so he has been helping out. That is a good number.
Mhm.
There's no anticipated change in the cost of fireworks for next year, so
okay.
13.
We're doing it, or we haven't talked about it, but we're doing it for townwide celebration.
We haven't talked about
We
it,
haven't
so
talked about it. for
we
that.
usually get the contract around January.
Yeah,
so-
right. Okay,
And that would, if there's a change in January that comes up, we have the chance to change this for the following year.
okay,
Because the money we have, the
Yeah.
13.5 now, 13,750 now is for this year, so.
okay.
Townwide celebration, it just seems to be, we're doing a little more, so it's costing a little more.
Mhm.
We also have to I think we take the donation for 8th grade out of this.
Okay,
But
but rec covers some of the
rec covers something,
expense.
but after this year, there is no more trip to DC.
Well,
Oh,
there was a meeting, where that may or may not have been discussed a few minutes ago.
Okay.
I haven't got the news on
That
that
was
yet.
the message that went out seemed pretty definitive, but it may,
Yes,
it may have changed.
Somebody was definitive about that, but there is
Okay.
also likely to be.
There's
plans
been talk
discussed.
about that trip not happening. So that donation from us to them was included in that.
Is that enough?
Fine.
35 enough?
I
Or
think
should we
so.
bump it up to 4?
the
we-
food cost is.
The
gone
food
up.
costs, it's the primary things are the food and the DJ. Those are our
Yeah.
biggest
We've
costs.
had some leftover food.
We have,
We
but we
have.
also have to remember what to purchase ice cream now because we don't have
Right,
Happy Cow. So
What do you want to do?
Yeah, $4,000.
4 grand?
okay.
whatever we have, we will use and it is well spent.
Right.
So
It's not something we're gonna.
the 3 real estate tax lines
Yeah,
are
they're
appropriate.
Fixed.
Our actual was 33.39 this year.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah, so that's about right.
Yeah.
county tax, we don't know that.
And we don't
until-
know that until it's weird. Yeah, it's
Okay, but we've.
70 seems consistent.
Yeah. it
Yeah.
does. Yeah,
When did we
there-
pay a tax collector's salary?
I think that might
that's
have,
what gets paid out to him.
That's his
That-
percentage.
that's the
Yeah, that's a
percentage.
percentage.
Right, but that should be reflected on the other side by an income, right?
It is.
Well,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah. that's the that's the first line. Delinquent
Right.
property taxes.
but we,
But this should only be on
But
on that. Well, I guess it's probably, yeah.
What's the delinquent tax fees is what pays the salary.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, I
and there's-
understand that, but
so
I
we
just
didn't put
don't-
any
I don't
figure
re-
in there, so we don't put any
'Cause-
figure in here as an
'cause-
expense,
right, we don't
It's in and
show a
out.
budget number.
right?
No, it's an in and out.
Yeah.
As long as it comes in and goes out.
So
Okay.
when when that goes through, Carrie, the fees collected, do you do all the standard deductions for like any town employee?
Yes, absolutely. He gets everything taken out like any other payroll.
Okay.
So if we're budgeting the income, shouldn't we be budgeting the expense that's associated?
We're not budgeting the income.
Well, it's just on the fees line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Marriage and dog licenses, again, that's always a guess of how much we pay the state for that.
Network we talked about, property management talked about, web service and software. So our list continues to grow. So this was where we want to discuss the license cost for the delinquent tax collector. If we want to include that or not. So he has 2 licenses at $72 a year.
So what has historically been done?
We don't cover expenses for the delinquent tax collector. When it was
And-
Jim,
and-
he
and
paid
nothing,
everything.
nothing has been changed as far as when Jim was tax collector, Carrie took out all the same deductions, everything was the same. Okay,
So it's just, so the only thing, the expenses that we're not covering are these 2 licenses,
yeah.
Correct. He's paid for everything else.
which,
He's paid everything else. Yeah.
well, what else is there?
His business cards, the software so he can access the computer downstairs remotely. When that computer had to be set up, he paid Pat to set it up for him. He's covered every one of his expenses except for these 2 licenses.
And I think he should pay for these 2. And I've said it right along. Everybody else did. It's part of the doing business. And
I don't understand why this is the place he's drawing the line, but I'm also really uninterested in continuing to spend a ridiculous amount of time talking about this tiny amount of money.
now, however,
it's a precedent.
Agreed.
You give a mouse a cookie.
I
Next thing you know,
know,
you
what
go
a
want a
great
glass of
book.
milk,
I
right?
said that to somebody and she didn't get it totally.
I get it.
I do. So we don't have to settle that particular issue because we have enough under web service software at 14,000 to cover.
Mhm.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
But I'm just not giving in.
No,
Emergency management equipment. Marty wanted to get some supplies. So he purchased a radio last year. He wants to get some additional supplies. So that's what that would be for.
Okay,
And then emergency management, that is for his cost for himself, like if he does things. So there was some, I think maybe some misalignment in some of those expenses, but that's what ultimately that came from. So
okay.
that's what that's for the same thing for this year. Generator maintenance is up because we have a new generator.
Okay.
Big ass generator.
So, yes, we can light up half of Rutland and some of West
Yeah,
Rutland.
power the whole street.
We had talked, Bill, you and I at one point about the fuel for those generators.
Correct.
And we don't have a line that reflects those multiple generators being fueled.
That's correct.
When
So
well, the center's generator run off the tanks that run the building.
they do.
So that one is there.
Yep.
All of the rest are standalone diesels. That's the only propane one.
Correct. And when we get a bill for those, I put that fuel expense in generator maintenance.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So do we
have
have
in the
enough at
past.
this to get all of our maintenance done
Mhm.
on all of these plus pay for the fuel?
So that was, so it's a 590 gallon tank.
At $3 a gallon,
Yep.
it's gonna be 1,500 right
Yep.
there, 16, 18, almost 1,800 bucks.
So that was part of that, but that's then there's the ongoing problem of that fuel just can't sit there.
No.
So that's a different discussion for a different plan, but we don't have a generator fuel line. It's just so the Brookfield Services does their maintenance agreements and fuel costs for the generators come from that line.
Okay.
We can
Do we
we can
wanna-
break it out if you want to. I mean, it's
No.
not terribly
Or-
complicated, but
I
it's
just
not.
want to make sure there's enough there
Yeah.
to cover fuel for all of these
the,
and plus
the
the maintenance.
initial cost to fill that tank is going to come from this current budget,
Right.
which is that 12.5, which should be okay.
Okay.
Because the actual maintenance on this new generator probably doesn't need to have a maintenance schedule for a year, so we should be able to be okay to get that around. It's not a substantial expense, but it's going to be an increase. So
I just want to make,
Yep.
'cause you and I had talked about this when
Yeah,
that new
it's just-
generator was.
it's going to be a little
Coming
bit of
online.
kind of that same thing. It's like feeling out what it's actually going to look like when it shakes out in the end.
Okay.
The seniors cost, Mike took over in rec
Yes.
budget, so that's
Yeah,
just to
moved
move
to
over
rec.
there.
Yeah.
Yep. Appraisal update, Marcia took care of.
Yeah.
The circle.
So we haven't bumped this up for a while. Do you want to bump it up to 5?
Is this what Janelle gets paid?
Yeah.
Or
I assume so. I don't know. I don't see her.
It is
I don't-
what it's what Janelle gets paid, but this is the I learned that in the past apparently we've been paying the school as well. This was a big conversation that I had recently with Sherry at the school. So I'd like to put $6,000 at least in there because that will cover Janelle and 1,500 to the school. I believe that's what we were talking about is what we owed the school. So
I think that was postage, right?
yeah, I think so. It was a
That's-
big conversation recently.
Yeah.
So at least it should be $6,000 in there.
But that doesn't give Janelle any bump up.
Right. So that's up to you guys if you want to
Who
do that.
decides that? Does the school decide that?
Mm.
What she's getting, or how does that work?
No, we decide how much we pay Janelle. The school's 1,500 is for their share of the postage or something.
Should we-
So 6,500,
Sure.
and that gives Janelle
Sure.
$500 increase. All right.
Lister education, we're good. Bank charges, we don't budget for. And then our new ones.
Zero listed. Okay. We don't have any bank charges, do we, Carrie?
No, what you're seeing in the in the actual is a money that the bank actually had to pay us back for, because we had to pay out for something that wasn't even on us, so they took
Ah,
the brunt of the charge. So that's why that's a weird number right there. So we don't usually have any issues with that.
okay. So now the public safety building, we've got 3 printed, but we've also need to do water,
Mhm.
sewer,
And cable.
cable,
Just be sewer.
and
Yeah.
yeah, okay. What was the third one?
Phone and internet.
Phone?
Phone and internet.
Phone.
That can be part of internet. Like that doesn't need to be a cable doesn't need to be its own. That's gonna be a subscription. That's yeah. Phone internet would be appropriate to cover that.
Okay. So maintenance on our brand new building. How are we paying to have it cleaned? Do we?
We clean.
Fire department cleans their own.
Cleans their
and-
own.
I'm not sure-
Lynn has traditionally cleaned because there's an access problem. People people can't just go in there without going through a process. So that might be a question to ask
Ed.
Ed.
You guys
Okay.
want to clean your own house, which would be good.
Yeah.
Take the trash out, vacuum, because they're gonna have sensitive documents that gotta be
They keep-
shredded.
right.
They've got that's a
Right,
whole
they-
different can of
it's
worms.
yeah, there definitely is an access issue there.
So do we just carry over the?
I think carry the
2,000?
2 and we're gonna have to go a budget.
Yeah.
season.
Yeah.
Do we
Yeah.
have a number for,
Yes.
that's used for Center Rutland?
We clean the Center Island.
What, I mean, for maintenance in general.
Oh. Wow, what did you say?
And I don't, I'm kind of staggered by
I
the,
hope a new building doesn't need maintenance for a couple of
you know,
years.
there could be some little things.
Chris at 8,000 for building maintenance.
So, I mean,
I think the theory was this year was there shouldn't be a whole lot to have to maintain with a
Brand new
building.
building.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking a 10-year-old building in Center Rutland and you're
wait, but
budgeting it out.
the theory behind the current budget number was we're also only budgeting for part of a year.
I think
half a
you're right.
year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it seems like, should we at least double it?
What's that for the new building?
Yeah.
The
For maintenance?
maintenance.
Yeah. Because he's right. That was intended to be a half a year.
But I don't know what we're gonna be maintaining. But we do take things, I mean, that's
Stuff
where,
happens.
I think that's where the trash collection comes out of.
Somebody's gonna change the Dinger thing for the new water softener.
Yeah, all the salt that you up on
I mean,
Something will happen.
right, so what do you want to do?
it. 4,000.
4,000? Okay.
Okay. Just to cover our butts. I'm
Electricity.
Staggered by the electricity for that station in Center Rutland. For an energy efficient building, and we're putting $4,000 into that. Cause I can tell you, well, I know the light bills have gone up, but 10 years ago, we were doing 2 stations for that. 12 years ago, 14 when.
We also have firefighters are not in there full-time. The police will be in the public safety building, so lights.
I mean, I think you
on,
gotta put the- if-
computers running.
I
air
think you're gonna have to put the
conditioning
same
on.
amount in there, $4,000 for that building.
Yeah.
If we're spending 4 in Center Rutland, which is staggering.
Well, again,
to me.
this
Be
was
more than.
this 3,000 was projected. So each of these numbers was projected to be a half a
Half
year
year,
number.
So 6,000.
All right.
You,
It's less
Yeah.
great, but how,
okay,
Can't
heating,
imagine.
fuel,
I can't imagine we're gonna go through more than $5,000 heat. fuel
I agree.
no,
Place.
no.
I
I
hope
agree.
not, at least.
well,
Yeah.
Well, it just
Yep,
cost
we
us
do.
what to
I
fill
know,
the
I
tanks?
heat
this
my
half,
house.
Yeah,
this
but-
half year that we
yeah.
budgeted for was the cold part. So
Oh, yeah, true, all right.
Fair.
5,000?
it's also the dark part. So I don't know, maybe that's.
Yeah,
The dark part.
Let me tell you something. All of these new buildings have automatic lights. You walk in, the lights come on. You walk through Center Station, you take your gear off the rack and walk out. The lights are on for another 20 minutes before they
Yeah.
go out. I am a firm believer in light switches.
Yeah.
And I believe that's part of the reason why that light bill in Center Rutland is so high.
In addition, light switches in addition to the automatic turn off. So you can turn them off earlier.
Yeah,
if
because
you don't-
I have stopped by McKinley Station quite a few times in years past to shut the lights off
Yeah.
because
Oh, yeah, I have
somebody's
too.
left them
Okay.
on.
If you're in the station during the day doing work on the truck, it's dark, you leave the lights on, you go home, the lights are on.
Yeah.
But I have when I borrowed tables from the fire station in Center Rutland, you walk in there, it's the middle of the day. Just bright as it is right now, you walk in, the lights come on.
Yeah.
And I get my tables loaded on my truck and I leave and the lights are on. There's no way to shut them off. And they're on for a good 15, 20 minutes. And I know the theory is it's supposed to be more energy efficient, but in the long run, it costs the town.
Yeah, I have.
Yep. But okay. So then we got, what else we have to do?
Okay,
We have to
so
do those
the sewer
sewer.
charge, what is that?
so much a gallon and we don't have a clue.
No idea.
What are we paying in center?
No idea.
No idea.
It's not,
What's in the
It's,
fire?
what's on the fire department budget?
it's in his utility line, I think.
Oh, it's mixed in.
Yeah.
What do we use?
Do we pay anything here, Bill?
Up at McKinley?
Is ours,
We don't pay anything here because they have an office downstairs, so we
Oh.
don't pay anything.
Okay.
But that's gonna change, so
I don't know. If we-
I really don't know. I'm sure it comes out of building maintenance, but I really don't know.
So
Can't
we're
be.
talking sewer line.
1,000?
Can't be more than $1,000.
All right, let's put 1,000 in.
Sewer, we're gonna put 1,000.
Okay. Cable,
Come flush the toilet less.
Phone internet is gonna be 10,000.
and does that include cable or no?
That includes, that's
Everything.
includes cable.
Okay.
We have an internet connection, a voice line and 14 phone lines. So
And how much is it gonna be?
10,000. Yeah. It's better than,
Cost of
I know.
progress, Mary.
It's just, everything's times 12 and it's yeah. And because we signed agreements with Consolidated for like, we signed them some 3 and 5 year contracts, that's a much better price than it would be off the shelf. Yep.
Communication is
Yeah.
valuable and expensive.
Okay,
Okay, so we got a few items left on this
Yeah.
budget that we can't finish,
but we
but
got through it.
we got through. All we got is just the salaries. Yeah,
It's just the clerk salary and the assistant salary.
yeah. So we did pretty darn good.
All right. Thank you for sticking with it, everybody.
And 20, I just want to put them back in order and I have no
Yeah.
flipping clue what the order is.
So
3510. Think you go there.
need,
Go here.
have
and then-
anything else?
Oh, town report schedule. Yes.
Oh, good,
good,
okay.
yes.
It is due to them, January 22nd.
Okay.
So if we can have the pre-town meeting at the school and takes place at that January 14th meeting, that would be phenomenal.
A little earlier than usual, but we can make,
The other date we were looking at was what, the 21st?
Yeah.
Which is the day before
and
everything
that's
is
way
due.
too close.
And that's where some issues arise, yeah.
Trying to crowd it.
Yeah.
So everything needs to be done and ready by the 14th of January. Everybody's reports, everybody's everything.
I sent out reminders to department heads about their report for the town report. We will need a dedication.
Oh, right. What I will do is send out the list of people who have been dedicated to in the past. And think about who you would, I have a couple of ideas, one in particular. So if you have others, we can do a real quick, I don't know. We usually just, it's not one of those where we can go into executive session, but we
Yeah.
kind of try and keep it under wraps a little bit.
So our,
Two ideas.
you know, we gave it, but our child, just the childcare thing is a 5968 contribution townwide. That's what,
5968, so $6,000.
$6,000. Yeah, that we're
It's
picking up.
another benefit for, well, I mean, that's not, that's the whole thing.
That's right,
So
that's for
we're
the
covering-
entire town for all the employees.
Yeah, okay. All right, so
I want to keep you guys in second.
motion's been made and seconded. All in favor of adjourning, please say aye.
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 I told Rose 4 hours.